Well, hello everyone. Happy early New Year's Eve, I guess. Welcome to the lawn care live stream. My name is Ron Henry, and I'm here to help answer your lawn care questions. If this is the first time you've ever joined the show, first of all, welcome. Really happy to have you here. The way this works is really simple. On your screen, you'll see a chat box. On that said chat box, you will answer your question, comment, concern of the day, and I work through them in the order they come in. Sometimes I have the answers, sometimes I do not. But either way, we have an awesome time talking about lawn care. Now, guys, I know 2022 is about to end. We moved the live stream that's normally on Friday nights to tonight, so it might be a shorter night tonight. But I wanted to still have it because some of you guys wanted to pop in and say hey. And so let's see what we got going on here. So as far as viewers, for this evening, we got Luke Walters in the house. We got Career Choices saying good evening, Ron, and peace to the chat. It's good vibes. Career Choices 912. I like it. I like it. And Luke Walters also saying, hey, Ron, what's going on, Luke? Hopefully you're doing well, sir. Thanks for coming to hang out in the live stream. We also got some folks on the Instagram joining as well. Say hi to some of you guys. Guys, I had like literally one question that I had to answer from last week. So, if you haven't, if anything you guys want to talk about, again, we can talk about lawn care. We're talking about whatever you guys want. Because again, last show of the year, and just wanted to answer the one question that a viewer had from last week on Lespedeza. I think that's how it's pronounced. It's a type of clover, type of weed that he was dealing with. So I'm going to get to that. And yeah, Michael Carroll's in the house saying Happy New Year, Michael. Hopefully all is going well. All right, next up we got Shoot True in the house. He's got a reticle. He says, thanks for the videos. I've used some of your tips of success. I'm glad they were helpful. Shoot True, really do appreciate it. Really do appreciate it. Very nice. And then Travis Dougherty has a question. The first question of the evening. He says, good evening, or good afternoon, rather. Hope you had a great Christmas. I did. I think some of you guys probably had a better Christmas. Hopefully a lot of the stuff that we sent out got to all the respective winners. But your question is, now, can you prepare me for the test to be licensed? What do I need to focus on? Tips to making it easier. There should be study material that you should get for your respective state, Travis, that you can review. In Georgia, there's also classes that you can take as well for that. So I would just go through whatever the material that's available and whatever process your particular state has, and just do that. I mean, the test isn't terribly difficult if you prepare for it, like most tests. But yeah, that's about the best I can give you. Unfortunately, that's all I got for you on that one. So I guess, is your goal, Travis, to start your own spray business, or to what? Like what's your thing? To start working for someone else, or to start your own spray business? Be interesting to find out. All right, we got Devin in the house from Colorado. Glad to hear that you're not frozen over, Devin. He says, what's up, Ron? Thursday night turf talk. Good way to start the 3-day weekend. Yeah, man. Yeah. I think there's football on tonight, so there's probably going to be some distractions for people watching that. But yeah, you're right. We got, let me see, tonight, tomorrow, and I guess Saturday. Saturday is New Year's Eve, so we got like 3 days, 2.5 days left in 2022 before we get on with it. Before we get on to 2023, right? And then spring and everything that goes towards getting our lawns awesome. So that should be great fun. To everyone that were the winners of the giveaway last week, all of your products are in the mail, with the exception of the person that won the carbon kit. That is not going to ship until Tuesday. But everything else, let me see. Look, I'm looking at my list here. Everything else should be on its way to you. So if some of you guys have already received it, I've gotten messages on Instagram and other social media saying that, yeah, my stuff showed up, my shirt showed up, that kind of thing. So glad the stuff's making it out, and I really appreciate you guys hanging out. It was a lot of fun last weekend. To everyone that won, again, congratulations, and those that didn't win, we'll do them again. So you've always got a chance to jump in and win something cool. All right, so we got our first super chat of the evening. Really cool. Thank you so much, Mr. Robert Majoros. Appreciate you.
Super chat received.
He says, hey, Ron and all. I want to give a friend some good advice on Bermuda seed choice. New construction, 30,000 square feet, non-irrigated. He has weeds and more weeds. Lives outside of city limits. Thanks for 22 inches. So yeah, as far as, it depends, man. It depends on what they're after. For Bermuda grass seeds, you've got Yukon, you've got Rio. I mean, there's tons of different choices. What I would do, Robert, is go check out Hancock Seed's website. Hancock Seed, I think they're in Lakeland, Florida. They have pictures. They have obviously multiple different grass types, but they have a pretty good selection of Bermuda grass seed. I would have him or her go look at the their options, and also just Google the grass seed, the grass type, those or the pictures of that particular type of Bermuda, and see which one looks good to them. A lot of people seem to like Yukon. There's not really a replacement for Arden 15 as yet. So as far as Bermuda grass seed, it really just depends on whether on the cold tolerance you're looking for, the color you're looking for. All those things really factor into that. But again, Hancock Seed is where I've gotten all my seed from in past years, and good set of people that run the place, and they'll also be able to point you in the right direction. When I call them earlier this year when when Arden 15 was being discontinued, they told me that Yukon is what a lot of people were buying. So call them and see if that's still the case, is what I would say, and then make your decision accordingly based on what they're saying, and also based on what looks good to your friend. 30,000 square feet is a lot to seed. It's a lot to try and grow from seed and without irrigation, because that's the thing, right? Most seeding projects, unfortunately, the reason why they fail is from lack of water throughout the process, the time period when you're trying to get the grass to germinate. So if they are not going to have any irrigation, then ensuring that they wait until April. I mean, I'm going to answer this if you're my neighbor here in Georgia. Waiting until you're like in the April, early May timeframe, so when soil temps are warm enough, but also when there's a lot of regular rain, is going to give them the best chance for success, right? I mean, obviously having irrigation would be great, but it sounds like you said new construction, so they don't have irrigation or anything like that in place. So doing the planting at the time of year when you're just naturally going to have help from Mother Nature is advice I would give them. So hope that helps. If you need anything else, definitely let me know. Great question. Appreciate the super chat. All right, so I have a question here from Williams 85 on Instagram. He says, is Anderson's Humachar and Essential G the same? No, they're not. They're different products. Anderson's makes their Humachar product, and Essential G is made by Miramichi Green. As far as components, Humachar, from what I understand, is biochar and compost, and Essential G has biochar, compost, humates, some silica in it, some reclaimed coffee grounds as well. So there's a quite a bit more as far as ingredients in Essential G than in Humachar, but obviously the concentration of those ingredients is less than what's in Humachar. So it depends really what you're after. I've never used Humachar myself personally, so I can't really speak to it or tell you, how good it is or not. I mean, everyone that uses Anderson's products seems to like it. Essential G is a bit more economically priced, or quite a bit more economically priced than Humachar, so that's something you can consider as well. But they're both excellent products. I mean, again, without having used it, people that use Humachar seem to really like it. I use Essential G, is what I recommend, and the viewers of mine that use Essential G have great results with it too. So there's more ingredients in Essential G than Humachar, and you just have to decide for yourself which one fits the bill for what you're trying to accomplish based on budget and just which company you want to work with. Great question. Appreciate it, man. All right, so we also got my Tony72 in the live stream tonight. Tony, looks like you're sideways. Says, good evening, Ron. What's going on, Tony? Thanks for coming to hang out. Appreciate you as always. Thank you for coming to drop in. Hopefully all you guys are having a good time off. It's a quiet time of year for you as far as work, and just taking some time to slow down, reflect on 2022, and make plans for 2023. You guys already know the stuff that I've got planned for 2023, so this is always good. Now, guys, we are just getting started, but definitely, as you guys know, I need the likes. We got to get the likes up, man. So it's even though there's not that many of us here tonight, it's still helpful as far as sending good vibes to the algorithm, getting people to come in and support the live stream. So if you guys wouldn't mind hitting that like button ever so gently, regardless of the medium you're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, hit that like button. Doesn't cost you anything. It's a great and free way to support the channel. So we got some more folks from Instagram dropping in here. Turf Tyrant, Brandon Tucker. What's going on, guys? All right, Stephen Edmonds says, dropping in for a like. Thanks for the great year of advice and entertainment. I appreciate it. I'm glad you find it useful and at least fun to watch, Stephen. So yeah, hopefully your 2023 is even better than your 2022. All right, we got a question here. It's an interesting one from JCap. He or she says, you ever think about switching from warm to cool season, or does a test play or a test plot, I think is what you're trying to say, of cool test area of cool season grass? Well, here's the thing, JCap. Based on where I live in the country, I'm in the southeast United States, northeast Georgia, and getting cool season grass to grow is it's not going to be that's getting it to germinate is not going to be the hard part. Getting it to survive the temperatures we have during the summer is going to be the problem. If you have been following the channel for a while, not this past year, but the year before, I did three plots. I did one of zoysia, one of Bermuda, and one of ryegrass. I was able to get all of them to germinate. The ryegrass germinated first. It grew in really nicely, did really well, and I was growing it in carbonized PN, so really, really good soil as far as giving it the best chance for success. And it did well until June-ish time frame. When it started getting hot here in Georgia, even with me watering it, it just really struggled. Now, I did have it on my patio where it was exposed to direct sunlight. Had I moved it somewhere into where it got maybe more shaded area, it might have done better. But even with just watering it every day, every other day, there were challenges with it, staying looking good. So while I could grow warm or cool season grass and it would do well this time of year and in the spring, it would be a big problem during the summer months to keep it alive and keep it looking good. So Bermuda, zoysia, St. Augustine, centipede grass, those types of grasses are better suited to this area. They just do better with the heat, and so that's why you tend to find that being grown here. Now, there are people that do grow cool season grass, like fescue is grown in Georgia. Like if you go to the Buckhead area, like where you have a lot of these older houses, really established houses in Atlanta, where they have big trees and a lot of shade, to where there's, as far as direct sunlight, those lawns don't get a lot of direct sunlight, even in the middle of summer. In those areas, fescue does well. So you can grow cool season grass in Georgia depending on the conditions. But in a situation like me, like what I have, where I really don't have any trees and it's a lot of direct sunlight, those conditions are great for Bermuda, not so great for ryegrass, Kentucky bluegrass, or any cool season grass. It'd be fine again during the fall time, the early spring, winter, all now it'd be doing all right. But the summer heat would absolutely scorch it. I tried it. I tried ryegrass, and it didn't work out so well. So I hope that helps. The plan for next year, as far as cool season, is to do an overseed. I'm this close. I'm this close to next fall doing a rye overseed, just to try it out one time, see how the lawn does, how it looks, all that fun stuff. So we'll see how that works out. But as far as converting the entire lawn from Bermuda to cool season grass, that's not something I'm going to do, because it just wouldn't work out very well. I spent a whole lot of money getting it to germinate and grow in, and summertime would kill it. It would not look great. So great question. Appreciate you coming to hang out in the live stream. Travis Dougherty has a follow-up. He says, also kicking off the new year with a new business, TLD Landscaping LLC. Cool. So you answered my question. So I did ask you, getting your license, what's your goals, and you are starting your own business. So best of luck. Best of luck. Make sure that you pick up routes, or make sure you're pricing things in such a way that it makes sense, that you're able to stay in business, and just do what you say you're going to do when you say you're going to do it, and you're already ahead of the game. You're already doing better than most people. So best of luck. If there's anything I can help out with, definitely let me know. Thank you so much, Career Choices. He says, click the like and share the live stream. Thank you for that, Career Choices. Yeah, anyone else that's not like watching football or getting ready to watch football or going to New Year's parties and that kind of thing, then yeah, definitely share it with friends, family. I need all the views that I can get. I really do appreciate it. Jermaine Patrick. So I'm seeing a lot of new names, which is kind of cool. Seeing names that I haven't seen before, maybe people that have just been lurking and just now the first time speaking up. So from Jermaine Patrick, he says, I live in Covington, Georgia. I know where that is. He's thinking about putting a light coat of fertilizer in February. What are your thoughts? Late February, sure. I mean, early February it's probably gonna be a bit soon. This winter we've had, it's been fairly cold, And well, actually, I shouldn't say that. This winter has been cold, but overall, the trend is what it really should be. Last winter was the one where that was really an outlier, where for like in December, this time of year, it was warm. It was way warmer than it should have been. To answer your question as far as fertilizer, whenever the lawn is beginning to green up, so you got the green fuzz over the lawn to where it's showing it's starting to wake up, it's trying to come out of dormancy. That's a great time to begin feeding it. March timeframe is when most people start introducing any real amount of fertilizer to their lawn in Northeast Georgia. February tends to be a bit early. In February, what I would focus on is pre-emergent. Now, if you want to use a pre-emergent that has some fertilizer in it, so like some of the fertilizers that we carry on the golf course lawn store, or we will carry, we're getting some here in stock, back in stock the first part of next month. There will be like a 007 formulation. So no nitrogen, no phosphorus, but they'll have like 7% potassium, which is good. That's a good way to wake up the lawn. It's good just for the health of the plant overall. Something like that I would do. But as far as throwing down a heavy application of your wake up fertilizer, which you tend to feed the lawn with in February, unless we have an unseasonably warm, late winter, then I would wait. March timeframe is really what I would when I would wait for that. So things you can do, right? If we're not going to do fertilizer, so I'm stealing all your thunder. So I'm sure you're all raring to go to put some fertilizer down. So things you can do in February is you can get a soil test done. That's a great idea because that's going to let you know what type of fertilizer is going to be the best fit for your particular soil. And getting your pre-emergent down is also something that I'm a fan of doing. So I like to do pre-emergent a bit early. So, early February, the month of February, anytime there is a great time to do it. I'm a fan of getting it done earlier. I've had really good results by doing that versus waiting until into the month of March. Some people wait till March and they do okay, but I've had really good results both on my lawn and Alex's lawn. And then this past year, the neighbor's lawn, the other neighbor, by getting it down in February timeframe. So that is what I would do. What I would also plan for, Jermaine, is before you get your fertilizer down, if you are someone that is looking to scalp your lawn, so like say you're looking to get that green up a bit earlier and also clean out the dead debris from last season, consider doing a scalp. So wait till early March, get your scalp in, clean out a lot of the dead and old material from last year, and then that's a great time to fertilize your lawn, right? So getting your pre-emergent down in February, and then scalp, get all that debris out, and then get your fertilizer down, and you're off to a great start for the 2023 season. But February is a bit early for doing any kind of heavy feeding of fertilizer in your lawn. It's just, again, unless we have an unseasonably warm February, which I don't anticipate, I would wait till the March timeframe. All right, let's see here. Scott Scasey, 1981 from the on Instagram says, "You always live stream during work. Hard to watch, but I do appreciate the live stream. Thumbs up from Australia. That's awesome, man. Well, I appreciate you tuning in all the way from Australia. So I guess let me think. So in Australia, we're in winter now, so it is summer for you guys, and I guess your fall should be starting in a couple of months, right? So, yeah. Well, I'm sorry the time don't work out where I'm streaming in the middle of the day, but hey, you can always catch it after the fact on your choice. You can watch it on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. So any of those four places, this is all being recorded and being sent to all of them at the same time. So you can check them out later on if you so desire. And if you have questions, you can always drop them in. I can answer it. And even if you're not able to watch live, if you remember where you were whenever you asked it, or the time frame around when you asked your question, you can just fast forward to that point and get your answer. So good stuff. I appreciate you coming to hang out, though, Scott from down under. So one of my places to go, so one of the places on my bucket list to go visit one day is Australia. Haven't made it there yet. All right, next up is JCap. He says, what lawn edging do you like most? Metal, stone, or straight up edge into mulch, etc. I like pavers. So I've tried, before pavers, I had just the mulch bed would end and then the lawn would begin. And while that can work, what I found is it just creates a big mess, right? Because unless you really push the mulch or whatever you happen to use, pine straw or whatever it is, back away from the lawn, when you edge it, you tend to blow some of it or move some of it into the lawn. And then when you blow off the the material that gets in the lawn from edging, it tends to create a mess. So I found that ever since getting pavers put in, wow, it's been, how many years has it been, guys? You guys have been watching the channel for a while. It's been at least 2 years, maybe three. That has been my go-to. I've been really enjoying that because one, you always have a obviously a hard edge, something hard to run the stick edger against. So the edge always looks great. Doesn't really move around that much. And as far as keeping the mulch in the mulch bed and the grass in the grass, it's a good way to go. You know what I mean? And it's a nice demarcation as far as between your mulch beds and your lawn. So I am a fan of doing stone pavers. That's what I have. Metal can work as well too. My least favorite is the straight edge into the mulch. So if I were, I've not done metal to be able to know what that would look like. But I'd say stone looks nice because it's just a more natural looking, it's more natural than metal. It's probably the most expensive out of the three. And then I would say stone, metal, and then just a straight edge into mulch would be my last choice, mainly because I've lived with that before and I know the challenges of keeping that looking nice. So just depends on what looks good to you. Stone again is likely going to be the most expensive, and believe it or not, that's actually more challenging. That's actually more challenging to get looking nice than you would imagine. Like, I'm glad that I actually paid someone to do it. That what they did is they actually ran lines and brought sand in to and some crushed rock to kind of build a foundation. So whenever they laid the pavers down, because all the pavers you figure they're all the same thickness, right? So you want to build a good foundation so that when you lay them, they're all even. If you just try laying them without doing that, it's not going to look that great. When it rains, they're going to settle and shift around. It's not going to look that good. So there's more to it. There's more to doing something like that than you might think. So I'm not saying you can't do it yourself, but unless you are going to take the time to understand what the process should be like and everything that goes into doing it, it's probably a good idea to have someone or consider paying someone to do it for you. After I did that, I'm glad that I did because it's a lot more work than I anticipated, and it's I don't think it would have come out as good had I done that myself. All right, so we got a question here from Instagram saying, "What are your thoughts on dormant seeding?" Uh, I've never done it. I've never done it ROP to be able to weigh in on it. I guess I'd have to understand what would the advantages be, right? So from let's say if I would say we're going to seed my lawn, right? And my plan was to do like a Bermuda grass renovation. I guess why seed? Why put seed down now when it's not going to germinate until really May timeframe, until soil temps are 65 degrees or trending up? So I just don't see the advantage of doing it super early. I mean, if you have any kind of heavy rain, you have more chance of it washing away. You have more chance of birds eating it. You have more chance of it rotting and just never not germinating. So there maybe with cool season grass that's a thing, but for warm season grass, I don't really understand what the benefit would be to putting it out super early. Now, if your question is around seeding a Bermuda lawn that's about to go dormant, so like overseeding a Bermuda lawn with say ryegrass to keep it green over the fall and winter months, I've not done it personally myself. I've seen it done well and I've seen it not done well. The thing I'll tell you is that if you decide you're going to do that, you need to plan for springtime, like March time frame, to get rid of the ryegrass overseed if you want your Bermuda grass to do well. So as long as you're willing to do that, it can work out okay. And if you're not, it'll look really bad. What you'll find if you don't get rid of the ryegrass overseed or the ryegrass that you overseeded in the previous fall is it's going to hang around, kind of like the grass that I planted in my little sample plot did, until June-ish time frame. The Bermuda is not going to look great, and the ryegrass is not going to look great. And because they look very different, like the ryegrass gets quite a bit taller than Bermuda, it's going to look like, lack of a better term, like garbage. It's just not going to look good at all. Neither grass type is going to look good. So if you decide to do that, plan for to get rid of it in the March timeframe. There are sports fields around here, especially baseball fields around here, that do a ryegrass overseed in the fall, and it works out well. But again, whenever like March time frame rolls around, worst case early April, they're spraying that out. They're getting rid of it so that the Bermuda can really take off. So hope that helps. If you need anything else, or have any other questions, definitely let me know. All right, next up we have Dwayne's World. Dwayne's World, what's going on, man? This is Dwayne's World. Happy New Year, good sir. I didn't realize you were doing your live stream tonight. Thank God for the YouTube notification. LOL. Yeah, man. I told you guys last week at the end. Let's do a vote of what. As the choice was either to cancel this week because I have something I have to do tomorrow night, or to do it tonight. And a bunch of you guys chimed in saying no. We will have it on Thursday. No canceling. No off. No off days. We gave you Thanksgiving or whatever it was off. That's your one day off for the year. You got to get back on it. You got to stay on the good foot. You got to end 2022 right and kick off 2023 right. That's how you guys felt about it. Something like that. But yeah, man, I'm glad you showed up. Hopefully, I'm not sure. Did you win anything, Dwayne? Let me look here. I think you no. I'm not sure if you won anything or not. Yeah, you did. You won a sticker. So hopefully that made it to you. So, and again, to everyone that were the winners from last week's giveaway, everything with the exception of the Miramichi Green Carbon Kit, which is going to David Quigley, has been sent out. So if you have not received it yet, you should be receiving it maybe tomorrow, maybe this weekend. You know, you should be receiving it soon. Our local post office here was closed. So most things went out on Saturday, but they were closed on Monday. They were closed Monday. So it might take an extra day to get to you, but everything has been sent out. So again, congrats again to all the winners. All right, LG's here. He says, "Hey, Ron, received my Christmas giveaway this afternoon, along with a nice note from the man himself. Thank you very much." Awesome, LG. Glad that it made it. So there you go, guys. See, so I'm a man of my word. I sent everything out as soon as possible. Literally, what happened is when the live stream ended, I sat here and started like writing out like congrats notes and like a little personalized note. LG, he had a little special note. Had to give him a hard time, and got everything boxed up, labeled up, so that Saturday morning I sent pretty much everything, with the exception of one, actually two people that didn't respond to me until like later on Saturday, and then with their address, and then their stuff went out on Tuesday. So pretty much everyone should be getting their stuff soon. Glad I made it to you safe, LG. And the curse is broken, man, right? It's broken until January 2023. Then it starts all over again. We'll see how long it takes you to win next year. Very good. All right, so guys, one of the questions that we had, actually, you know what? I'll save it. I'll wait till we go a little bit further, and I'll address that a bit later. So Travis says, my own business, I'm trying to add services and get a lot of people asking me to spray. I'm in Texas, so not a lot of info. LOL. No, there should be material, and for example, there's a test you have to take, and there should be some material available for you to study, for you to take, to prepare for that test. I mean, it's not like they just expect you to show up and sit the exam. That would not, that'd be kind of scary. Because one, if you passed it, like were you just guessing? Were you just choosing C for everything, assuming that was and then you got through it? I mean, there has to be, I would imagine, both formalized training, like a couple of couple weekend courses or workshops that you sit through, and there's likely also a book of some sort, some kind of material available for you to read through to prepare for that. They're not just having people just sit for licenses for to get their license to spray herbicides. There is formalized training material. You just gotta find it. All right, JCap says, last question is probably not, but we'll take it. He says, what do you recommend to a lawn with dog waste? Do you recommend anything to counter dog pee from killing the grass? Okay, so as far as dog urine burning your lawn, so a common misconception that people have, they'll say, it's only female dogs that burn grass. It's their urine. There's something especially toxic in female dog urine that damages lawn. That's actually not true. The reason why female dogs' urine tends to cause damage to lawns more than male dogs is because it's a lot more concentrated. Whenever they urinate, it tends to all go in one spot, so it's much more likely to damage the lawn. Boys tend to spray on fences and trees and just kind of spray, around, versus like it'd be more concentrated. So puppies and female dogs tend to, get a bad rap as far as burning grass. Now, as far as countering it, the best thing I can tell you is to train your dog to urinate in one spot. There's people say there's additives you can put in their water and things along those lines. That kind of stuff is hit and miss. The best way is like what Alex does. Like, they have a dog, and she is trained to go in a corner of the lawn. For the most part, that's what she does. And that area is like literally scorched earth. It's completely destroyed. Grass will never grow there. And that is what I would recommend. If you can train, not if you can, but just take the time to try and train your dog to say, hey, this is your designated spot. When you have to go to the bathroom, go here, and just have a sacrificial area that you're just gonna give up and allow that to get damaged. Dog urine is the main thing you have to worry about. As far as like feces, that's not really, as far as causing damage, not really. I'm not seeing any issues with that. It's just smells bad and makes a bit of a mess if you step in it, obviously. But as far as urine goes, training the dog to go in a designated spot is your best bet for that. Hope that helps. If you need anything else, definitely let me know. It's a great question, JCap. All right, next up is Tillman Walters. It says, Ron, when should you scalp your lawn? Great question. It's a good question. So I like to do it in two phases, or in the past couple of years, I've done it in two phases. In February time frame, I'll do like my pre-scalp. It's where I get rid of a lot of the material. And then again, in either late February, early March, I'll do another scalp to really set the height of cut, or set the height, set the grass below where I intend to maintain it. And I do that for the main reason, this should cut down the amount of work. I have around 11,000 square feet to have to take care of. And if I do it all in one go, which I've done in the past, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of material to have to get rid of. So by breaking it up into a couple of sessions, I find that that works better. Really, most people that scalp their lawns tend to wait until March timeframe, late February, early March. If you're only going to do it once, late February, early March is a good time to do that. And the benefits of scalping is that you get rid of a lot of the dead material. And as far as green up, you tend to get your lawn to green up a couple of weeks sooner than lawns that, for people that don't scalp. Also, as far as your fertilizer goes, if you think about it, like most lawns that aren't scalped, like the grass, or the dormant grass, tends to get really thick over the between the fall and winter and early spring, because it's not getting mowed and it's still growing just really, really slowly. And you have this really, really thick carpet that is not ideal. Like, I would not want to put fertilizer on top of that, because as far as it getting past the grass, getting down in the soil where it can begin working, it's just more difficult. So as far as getting more out of your fertilizer, scalping is a good thing to do for that reason as well too. You're removing the material. So as far as the fertilizer getting to the soil where it can get washed down in the soil profile, it's gonna work better. You can get more out of it. As far as again, getting more heat and sunlight on the grass, which is going to help it green up sooner, is another benefit of it. So I'm a big fan of scalping your lawn. There are people that, instead of scalping, depending on where you live, they like to burn their lawns. I've never done that, and I really don't recommend that if you live in a subdivision. Most home associations have print saying don't set your lawn on fire. It's a good way to have the fire department show up and likely get us a fine, and just the wrong kind of attention, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So scalping is what I would lean for. Now, as far as as far as the machine I would use for that, if you have a rotary mower, that is what I would use to scalp instead of a reel mower. So say you've got like a True Cut or some other reel mower, I would save your reel mower for actual mowing and use a rotary mower for your scalping work, if at all possible. I mean, the grass doesn't know that it's being scalped with a reel mower or a rotary mower. It doesn't really matter, because really what you're doing is you're just trying to get rid of a lot of that material and get it out. So a rotary mower blade is a lot cheaper than sending a reel out for sharpening afterwards, plus the wear and tear on your reel mower. So just something else to keep in mind as far as when you plan to scalp. So February, if you want to break February, and then again in March, if you want to break it up into two sessions. Otherwise, you can just wait till late February, early March, and then you're good to go. So great question, Tillman. I'm a big fan of doing it. I will do it this year like I did last year. And yeah, if we can help with anything else, definitely let me know. Great question. All right, Robert says that was 2022, and see you in 2023. Thanks, Robert Majoros. I figured it was something related potentially to the year, but I couldn't put it together. So there we are. So we got Premium Green Turf is in the house here on Instagram. Jason Harrison's in the house. What's going on, Jason? Hopefully you're doing well. Appreciate you coming to hang out in the live stream on the Instagram. And let's see, we have a question here from Jesus Prado. He says, hey, Ron, I've always been looking for a broadcast walk behind spreader. I bought an earthway spreader with the high output attachment. Videos look very promising on spreading sand. I've never tried spreading sand with mine, but if there's some modification or some attachment you can make to it to where sand is spreadable with it, give it a shot. If you I mean, it doesn't hurt to try it. That's just what I'm trying to say. I've never tried spreading sand with mine. The thing is too with the Earthway is that it's the hopper is like an 80 pound, depending on what size you get like either a 40 or an 80 pound hopper, and that sounds like a lot, but really that doesn't go too far when you're spreading sand, right? Because if you're using it for like top dressing, you're gonna run through that fairly quickly. So I don't, even if it does it, I don't know that it's the easiest or necessarily the best tool for the job. I know that using it to spread carbonized PN, which is the non-granular biostimulant product from Miramichi Green, it's like their half compost, half biochar product. Like that does not spread in an earthway. But granted, that's just in a normal earthway. I don't have the high output attachment that you're talking about. So I'll have to look into that. I'll have to look into that, and maybe we'll see, because I am planning on doing a top dress of the front lawn with carbonized PN this upcoming season. Again, that's not a leveling project, just putting some nice organic material out, give it a nice pop, get it to green up really nicely. And if that's a thing, I'll give it a go, and we can see how well it works out. But again, it's not really the best way, because the hopper only holds 80 pounds, and that's that you'll go through that really quickly when you're using it for the purposes of top dressing. So, but definitely let me know if you want to give that a shot. Definitely chime in on the live stream and let us know how that works out once you try it. Edub, I think I answered this question on Instagram, but he had a question saying, is Anderson's Humichar the same as Essential G? They are not. They are separate products. They both contain biochar. They both contain compost, but Essential G also contains humate, silica, and reclaimed coffee grounds. So there's a bit more ingredients in Essential G than there are in Humichar. So they're similar but different. Both products you're going to get good results with. I use Essential G. It is what I recommend, and I have great results with it. But they're similar in what they're designed to do, but Essential G has more ingredients in it. All right, Dwayne's World is up next. He says, hey, Ron, I am getting some areas of my overseeding perennial ryegrass that appears to be yellowing on the tips. Any ideas of what could be causing it? Not sure, Dwayne. Is it getting, I think you're in California. So is there been a drastic temperature change or anything else going on? Have you changed how you've been feeding it? Have you changed watering? I guess what's changed between when it was looking really good to how it looks now? Because it was looking great before, and you change either how much you're watering it or not watering it. You change how you're feeding it or not feeding it, like rates and products being used, or the weather changed, right? So something changed that's causing the yellowing. Another thing too to keep in mind is make sure that your mower is sharp. So check to ensure your mower is cutting paper, because even though that's a gremlin that you'll chase your tail on, you'll wonder why the lawn isn't maintaining its color. And Alex had that, not this season, but like last season, late last season. He was mowing his lawn. We were on the same, like blow for blow. We're on the same season, or on the same schedule as far as mowing. And after a while, we were noticing that he'd mow it, but the lawn was green, but it didn't have like the green pop. It didn't have nice vibrant green between mowings. And then we checked his mower. It was like, cutting is like a butter knife. It wouldn't, like, all across the reel, it was not cutting paper. So a dull mower can also cause that. So if you can get down there, you can look at the tips of the grass. If they're any kind of fraying, if it looks like it's tearing at the grass, or it's being pinched and stretched, that's a sign too that your mower might need either adjustment, like that bed bar to the bed knife to reel might need adjusting, getting that tolerance tightened up a little bit. It may need a back lap, and after adjusting it and back lapping it, if it's still not cutting paper, then you may need to take it in for a grind. But those are things I would say. If you change anything as far as how you're feeding it, that could be a problem. Weather could be a problem. Watering, how you watering could be a problem. But if none of those things have changed in any meaningful way, then check your equipment. Make sure the mower is sharp. That is really important, and it's something that if you don't think about it, you can spend a lot of time chasing your tail, wondering why the lawn just isn't as green as it used to be between mowings, until you do. So hope that helps, Dwayne. But fortunate for you, if you, I know, given the number of mowers that you have, if your mower isn't in sharp and you don't feel like getting it sharpened, you can just reach for one of the other four. I mean, I think you're at what, to 4 or 5 mowers at this point. So you've got plenty of equipment you can swap out and move to if you decide, if you find out that your current equipment isn't sharp. But with the Greensmaster, what I find is 2 clicks. Like the Greensmaster has the like the notched bed bar adjustment screws, and I find like 2 clicks on those tends to be the trick. It's all you tend to need to get it cutting paper. And again, if it doesn't do that, it's time for a back lap or a sharpening. So hope that helps, sir. Let me know what it was once you get to the bottom of it. Jesus Prado is back. He says 30,000 is a lot. I have one bag, 25 pounds of SW 1070 with a blue tag, which is now Arden 15. Cool. Sounds good. That wouldn't be enough to do 30,000 square feet. If memory serves me, you want to put Arden 15 out at 2 pounds or so per 1,000 square feet. So you would need, that's about, which is good for 13,000 square feet, that 25-pound bag you got. So he's going to need a bit more than that. But yeah. If you could get Arden 15, that's what I would say to go with. It's a great grass. Really, really like it. It pained my heart to hear that Pennington, they weren't going to be carrying it anymore. All right, so I answered your question, Tillman, on scalping. And then Jesus Prado says, when your lawn is about 50 to 60% green, it's time to scalp. Don't forget to bag your clippings. It's good advice, Jesus. I tend to do one earlier when the lawn is still largely dormant, and then another one, again, late February, early March. And that right after that, the lawn really wakes up and begins to take off, which is good stuff. All right, so we had a question from last week. Let me get to it before I forget, get too far into the show. It's from Dean B. He had a question. He says, what is the best way to prevent Lespedeza? I think that's how it's pronounced. If I'm pronouncing it wrong, sorry. He says, it's the only summer weed that I've had issues with. Prodiamine doesn't seem to work well. Yeah, so I looked into this, Dean, and as far as pre-emergence, you can use dithiopyr, and you can use simazine. So dithiopyr if you've got warm or cool season grass, and then simazine if you've got warm season grass. You can go with that for as far as a pre-emergent to prevent it. And then as far as a post-emergent, there's several that will get rid of it once it's there. Celsius at the high rate. So Celsius at the higher rate is labeled to take care of Lespedeza. So there you got options. So dithiopyr or simazine, also sold under the brand name Princep, is good as far as a pre-emergent for that. Both those pre-emergents will work well, and then Celsius as a post-emergent. Anything with dicamba in it should be able to knock that out. So hope that helps, sir. I said I would get you an answer this week, and man, my word, looked into it, and I hope that helps. All right, next up is Donna Hales. Donna is in the live stream, and she says, hey, Ron, what is the ratio of fast to slow release nitrogen is optimal if I'm putting it down every 30 days? So I can tell you what humic max is, and I believe, let me look at the label. I believe it's 35% slow release in humic max, which would be the rest of it is 65% quick release or fast release nitrogen. That I've gotten good results with. I've gotten good results with that ratio. Lebanon makes other products that are like a 50-50, like a 50% slow release and 50% quick release. Some that are even higher percentages of slow release, like up to 70%. But humic max is it's a relatively low ratio. It's like 35%, I believe, of slow release. Actually, let me look here. I've got it here, so I should be able to look it up real quick. Let's take a look. Let's take a look here, and I should be able to tell you. It is, I'm pretty sure it's around 35, 35% or so. Let's see here. Let me look. Let's do it this way. We'll just go to Lebanon's website, and I'll show you there. Humic max 1608. I'm almost positive it's 35. It's almost 30. It's 35%. Yeah. So let's go here. We'll go take a look here at the um at this, and we're gonna get rid of this guy. And all right. So yeah, so it's 35% Mesa, which is Mesa is the name for their methylene urea, which is their slow release nitrogen. So if you ever looked at Humic Max, which we are working with, this close to getting close to getting that back in stock here soon for you guys. If you, I'll actually take this up. We'll do it this way. If you look at this jar, the blue pebbles that you see in there, that is their slow release nitrogen. It's like a homogeneous prill, which means that if it gets stepped on, if it gets crushed or cut with a mower or anything like that, it's not going to change the rate at which it releases. And Humic Max, as you can see, it's 35% slow release, 65% quick release, and that ratio has worked out really well. Again, I use it in my spoon feeding program. People that have bought it have gotten great results with applying it every 30 days. So if you look for something that has a ratio along those lines, you're gonna be just fine. Really, Humic Max, you can apply it every 4 to 6 weeks. We just do it every 4 weeks, and the rate that we apply it at is 3 pounds per 1,000 square feet, which gets you just under half a pound of nitrogen and leaves enough meat on the bone, leaves a little bit of headroom for if you're going to be spraying a liquid fertilizer on top of that in a spoon feeding program, that you're not putting too much nitrogen out. So hope that helps. Now, as far as being optimal, this I can tell you works very well. You could likely go up even a bit higher as far as slow release and still get a good result. But really, Humic Max, that does very well. You don't have problems with it burning that you might see in a 100% quick release product. And it's overall works really well in a spoon feeding program. So yeah, every 30 days works great with that product. And again, we are working to get this back in stock on the Golf Course Lawn Store for next season. So stay tuned. If you guys are interested in that, go to here. I'll actually put it up on the screen here. Go to this page that I'll link in the chat now, and just sign up. Says notify me when available, and as soon as it comes back in stock, you guys will all get an email, and you'll be able to pick up your supply of it once it is available. So not available yet, but working to get it back in stock for you guys. Great question, Don. That's a good one. All right, next up is E-Dub. E-Dub, he says, okay, I have 12,000 square feet to overseed with Bermuda seed and leveling. Should I mix the topsoil with bank sand or just bank sand, and will Bermuda seed germinate in just sand? So, okay, so a couple things. We'll unpack this a little bit. So if you're saying when you say, do you mean overseed, or are you going to seed the lawn? Like, are you doing a renovation project and you're going to be just growing the new lawn from seed? If that's what you're saying, what I would do is I would not mix 100% sand with it. I would do like a blend of compost. I would have some organic material in there. What I have done in the past, E-Dub, and I've gotten good results with, is what's her name? The Super Sod makes a very good mix. I think it's a 70-30 blend of river sand and 30% of their soil cubed product, which is a really rich compost product. I've put that out, like the last time I seeded my lawn, which was been a few years now. I used that and got really good results with it. So whichever way you decide to go, I would have some kind of, or I would lean more. I would make sure whatever you do has organic material in it. I would not do 100% sand. A couple of reasons. One, it doesn't have organic material, so as far as nutrients goes, it's just not a great medium to grow grass in. If you have a hot spring or summer, it's going to get a lot hotter than a blend will. And so just in general, I just wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that. I would use either a blend, or if your goal is just to establish a new lawn, is to use something like this, like carbonized, I don't know, I keep hitting super chat, is like carbonized PN. So something like this would be excellent for establishing a new lawn with seed. So you'd get the lawn nice and flat as much as possible. You would lay down a thin coat of this over the entire lawn, put down your seed and then rake it in, like this is going to get you very good germination. Like carbonized peanut is an excellent product for that. But I'd want to ensure that you have something like this mixed along with your sand if that's the way you're gonna go. Given that you have 12,000 square feet, getting a product like, I will link something in the chat here for you right now. Let's see, you're on henry.com/outbursting. This link here, which will save you a few dollars on their mix. Let me see, at edub. This is what I would use and have used for top dressing. It's an excellent product, and if you're also going to seed a lawn, that is it's a good way to go. This right here. So they have their compost, just 100% compost product, which is excellent. But if you're also trying to do a bit of leveling as well, then going with their level mix, which again has a blend of that sand and compost. So it's like 30% of their soil cubed, along with 70% USGA sand. This is what I would use for top dressing. If you're in Georgia, if you live in Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, Tennessee, or Alabama, which I think are all the places that Superside will deliver that is what I would use. It is more expensive, but the benefit you have of that is it doesn't have any trash in it. You're not gonna be spending much of time picking rocks and twigs and bark and all this other garbage out of it. Like it's really, really clean material. And I've had great results with it. It is a bit more pricey, but you definitely get what you pay for as far as a medium to use for a renovation project or for leveling a lawn. So hope that helps. I would not use 100% sand if your goal is to establish a new lawn from seed. Great question. 12,000 square feet sounds like a lot of work. I know it's a lot of work, so I've done that a couple of times. All right, Alex Lee's in the house. The man, the myth, the legend. Mr. Alexander Lee's in the house saying happy holidays, everyone. Happy holidays, Alex. Thanks for coming to hang out, sir. I was actually hanging out with Alex and fam earlier. Had a fun brunch and just hung out, chilled. We're solving all the problems of mankind over food and some cocktails, which was a lot of fun. But thanks for coming to hang out in the live stream, sir. Appreciate the support. Next up, we got Higgy Pop saying, hey, Ron, Happy New Year to everyone. Happy New Year, Higgy. Appreciate you coming to hang out in the live stream. And then Jesus Prado is weighing in a bit more on the scalping. He says, if you cannot bag your clippings, use a rotary mower and put it to the lowest height of cut. The rotation motion of the blades acts like a vacuum and sucks everything up. You could go over with the mower. So yeah, I mean, you can do that, but really like bagging your clippings is the way to go. Like I would not scalp your lawn and then throw all that material, just leave it all on the lawn. It kind of defeats the purpose of doing it. The idea is to scalp it and get it out, get it out and get the material out of the lawn, clean it out. That is the goal. You don't want to just don't want to make a big mess in the lawn and just leave it there. I would absolutely work on getting out. And here's the thing, if you don't have a way to bag it, that is a good reason to maybe break it up into a couple of different sessions, because if you're going to be scalping the lawn and having to get out there with like a grass rake and rake up all the material and bag it up and get rid of it that way, that's a lot of work. So breaking that up into a couple of sessions where you're taking off not as much material all in one go is a good plan. You'll be hating life a lot less versus trying to do it all at once. Again, depends on the size of your property, right? So if you have 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 square feet, you want to do it all at once, not that big a deal. But if you have a larger lawn, it's a ton of work. It's a ton of work to scalp it, and then it's a ton of work to do all the cleanup. So take it from someone that's done it both ways. Breaking it up in a couple of sessions is a lot less work. All right, McNasty Motorsports says, whoa, Thursday night turf talk, unwelcomed unexpected, but welcomed. Yeah, man, McNasty, last week I was telling you guys that tomorrow night I have a prior commitment that I can't really get out of. So the choice was either we're not going to have a live stream this week or we were going to do it tonight. And you guys, being the demanding bunch you are, voted for tonight. So here I am. All right, Rich 70V is in the house. He says, "Hey Ron and everyone, I agree on the live edging. I'm transitioning my beds to pavers also. Yeah, man, it's a game changer. It looks better. It makes edging easier, and as far as keeping debris out of, out of both sides, you don't get grass, or it's harder. You get less grass in your beds, and you get less like mulch or pine straw in your lawn. So it's just a lot less work. Now, here's the thing: I have seen, if you watch some of these guys on YouTube that like if you watch what's his name, the guy out of Alabama, Jason Krill, like the guy that does like a lot of landscaping work. Like if you have very clearly defined beds, and you keep up with it, you keep to where you have like the mulch here, a bit of dirt, and then there's a nice hard edge from the lawn. And especially if the lawn is a bit higher, so it's not like they're equal heights. Like the mulch bed actually cuts down a little bit beneath the surface of where the lawn butts up to it. That can work out well too and can look okay. But I just find that putting pavers in, one, just decoratively looks very nice. And then as far as just being a lot less work, as far as having to keep, stuff where you want it, it tends to work better. If you have Bermuda, it also slows down how quickly the Bermuda will creep into your beds. That's another reason to do pavers, right? Especially if you do a thicker one, a 3-inch paver, the rhizomes will still get under that. But as far as you being a constant battle of the Bermuda, just literally growing like crazy into the flower beds, into the mulch beds, it's going to be less than if you it's going to be a lot slower process to where you'll be able to keep up with it than if you have pavers versus if you don't have pavers. So that's another benefit that I forgot to mention as well for going the pavers route. If you did the metal edging, kind of like what you see in a lot of on commercial properties, like I think, well, I know what you're talking about. So if you think about like what you see oftentimes at like a Disney World or amusement parks, where they have like it looks like, I don't know, it's almost like maybe a quarter-inch thick, and it sticks up above the surface, 2 to 3 inches. Like that has an advantage, that if you get a wide enough version of that, or wide enough plate, and you drove that, you buried that beneath the surface, that can act like a pretty good a barrier for, again, slowing down how quickly Bermuda creeps into your beds. But it's probably a bit more work to get that looking nice. And it isn't, and me personally, I don't think the metal edging looks as nice as pavers do. So again, I vote for pavers. If your budget will support it, and you either have the skill to do it yourself, or you can afford to have someone do it for you, I just think rock looks nicer than metal. It also doesn't rust, so there's also that. DH Design and Painting says, "Happy Thursday, Ron. Happy Thursday, DH Design. Happy New Year as well. Hopefully, you guys all is going well with you." And Dwayne says, "Yes, I got the sticker yesterday. Thanks, Ron. Cool. Glad it made it. Glad it made it." I always worry around this time of year. The postal service is backed up. I mean, they're doing the best they can, right? I mean, given the sheer volume, I always, I'm a little bit leery with mailing stuff this time of year, if things are going to make it on time. So I'm glad to hear that. Sounds like a lot of you guys you've either gotten your stuff already, or it should be getting to you soon. Because Dwayne I think you're in California, if memory serves me. So you are pretty much as far away from me as anyone else that won. So everyone else should have already gotten their stuff. See, Lawn Whisperer, Justin's in the house. What's going on, Lawn Whisperer? See you there on the gram. Hopefully all is going well, sir. All right, Rio, the Hitman, someone I hope I never make angry, says, "Thanks, Ron, for being the goat of lawn care. We appreciate you. I am looking forward to the upcoming year." Yeah, man, I don't know about being the goat, but I really do appreciate all the kind words. Appreciate you guys coming to hang out. This evening I was kind of thinking, man, it's probably going to be like 4 or 5 people. It'll be perhaps LG, Dwayne, a couple other folks, but you guys showed up. So I'm glad that we're still able to chat for a little bit. And again, we can talk about whatever you guys want. The channel is focused on lawn care, but if you want to talk about your goals, things you have planned for next year, or anything else, like technology questions, I'm happy to take those as well too, because it's just kind of a fun, chill evening where we are just kind of kicking back and having a good time talking about grass and whatever else, right? All right, next up is Lavendi. It says, "Anyone know the going rate for sod replacement per square feet average?" Don't know. I haven't bought sod in forever. I don't know. No idea what sod is going for. It depends. It depends on the sod. Like I can tell you, Bermuda Tipway 419 is much less expensive than zoysia. And I don't know what like one of the more boutique sods are like Bermuda sods, like Tahoma 31 is probably more expensive than Tipway 419. But again, I've not priced it because I haven't had the need to put any sod in here recently. So I would check in your area, Lavendi, and see what they come back with. Actually, I might be able to get you. I might be able to give you a number because a friend of mine owns a landscaping business, and sometimes on his Facebook page he posts sod that he has available. Oh, here we go. Yep, I got you. All right. So Landscape Plus in Gainesville, Georgia. He says $295 per pallet, covers 504 square feet. So I'll show you here really quick and what he's got going on here. I'm not sure if Facebook will load. Yeah, it is. Here we go. It is loading on this machine. All right. So yeah, so this is for fescue sod. So $295 per pallet, 504 square feet. That's for fescue. I don't know if he's got Bermuda. If we would go back a bit more, you might be able to see when he's had Bermuda sod in. But let's see, Empire Zoysia, 500 square feet per pallet. Bermuda, $200. Empire Zoysia, $369. Myers Zoysia, $369. And looks like the Myers, it's 450 square feet. So that gives you an idea. This was posted in October, so it gives you an idea. But anywhere between, so 370 for warm season grass, like so $200 on the low end, and then up to 370 for zoysia, and then for cool season sod, so like fresh fescue sod, 295 per pallet, $300 per pallet. So that gives you an idea. And if you're in Northeast Georgia, give Mike a call at Landscape Plus. He'll take care of you. So there you go. See, I didn't know, but I was like, you know what? I know a guy that has a business that does that, and he has a Facebook page, and lo and behold, there you go. So it gives you an idea of what you can expect to pay Lavendi. All right, Donna Hale says, great to hear Humic Max may be available. It served me well last year for sure. Yeah, yes, Donna, we are planning on getting it back in stock. We are working hard on that. The goal is to have it available before the season starts. If I can get it back in stock in February, that would be awesome, right? I like to have it all the logistics worked out to where it's available by then, and we'll see if we're able to make that happen. Fingers crossed that we will, because I know you guys all, this past season have been asking for it, and now things have worked out to where it makes sense to bring it back in again. So I am working on it. It's a great product. I love it. Love Humic Max. Great product. There's also likely going to be an organic option as well. For those of you guys that want like organic fertilizer, like an organic starter fertilizer, we should have something that we're going to be able to offer in that space as well too. Once I've got the label and everything else, you guys will be the first to know. People on the live stream will be the first to know. But you can expect to see Humic Max and then a organic option for a starter fertilizer next year as well. It's gonna be something else we're gonna have available on the store, on the channel. All right, so we got, let's see, Lawn Addict here on the gram saying, hey Ron, hello again. What's going on, Lawn Addict? Thanks for coming to hang out and spend some of your Thursday with us here on some turf talk. Appreciate you. We got Sunny Bermuda in the house. Says, hey Ron, 2022 has been a great year. It has been a good year overall. I have to say 2022 was not, it's compared to definitely compared to the 2 years before it. It definitely was a lot better, right? In general, just the state of, for the state of the world overall, it was better. Some parts of the world worse, right? But in general, we were on the upswing in 2022 versus what we dealt with in 2020 and 2021. I am in full agreement with that. I agree with your sentiment. 2023 should hopefully be even better, right? That's the plan. All right, Jesus Prado says, what are the first things you're going to be doing to your lawn once the temps start to warm up? Great question. It's a great question. So even prior to them warming up, I'm going to get my scalp done. I'm going to be getting my spring soil test done. So, February timeframe, this is going to get done. My pre-emergent is going to go down prior to the lawn coming out of dormancy before things warm up too much. And then once temps are warmer, so we're talking like March timeframe, that is when I will do the first feeding. We'll get We'll get fertilizer down to get the lawn going. I also like to do my acelepryn, my insecticide, in late March, early April timeframe. So depending on how things are looking this upcoming season, I'll get that down. And then it's just lots and lots of mowing. Between all that, a common theme is going to be a lot of mowing, right? Mowing, turf raking, and this year I'm really looking forward to, because I'm going to start my turf raking earlier. Like you guys know, even over the course of the winter here, I've been turf raking the lawn just to keep debris out of it, keep that, keep the lawn as clean as possible. And that's something I plan to do really starting early this season, just to see how the kind of impact it's going to have on the lawn. I'm thinking like the stripe action, guys. If you think last year was good, I think this next year is going to be a whole nother level of stripe action. It's going to be something. It's going to be a force to be reckoned with if you like stripes. If you don't like stripes in your lawn, probably not going to want to like to watch my content, because I'm definitely going to be showing that off a whole lot. I've got some plans for the design I want to use. It's definitely going to keep the dominant stripes that you guys see now, which are, I'm not sure if I've got here. Let's see if I got a video. Like, so these stripes are going to stay as well. And I'm toying between going either perpendicular to this, right, to have like a checkerboard, or doing like a 90-degree to this. So if from where you're looking at in this video now, if I walk over here a little bit more, so the right side of the lawn, like you see where Alex's fence is there, like having it being diagonal from there towards the rock. So having that set up, I'm toying with that as well too. I'm not sure what you guys think, what your thoughts are. I realistically, checkerboard probably makes the most sense, but a straight and a diagonal could be kind of cool too. What do you guys think? Weigh in, chime in on what you guys what you guys would want to see as far as the stripes that I burn in next year. But yeah, Jesus, that's the plan. If you want to see it at a very high level, what I'm going to be doing as far as the process, if you go here, if you go to the Golf Course Lawn Store and then go to blog, and then scroll down to page 2 to one of the first blog posts, which is the step-by-step guide on how to get a golf course lawn, right? At the bottom of that, you got to scroll past it. Although this is really good reading. There's a lot of really good information here, so it's worth checking out. But you scroll past all this, all the content that I so painstakingly wrote and edited and try to keep as nice as possible. You can skip all that, and you can get all the way down here to the month-by-month breakdown, where I talk about doing a soil test, pre-emergent, fertilizer, insecticides, fungicide application. I mean, pretty much the entire, I don't really cover a lot of the rates in detail here. A lot of that's in the course. But as far as a high level of what you can do, this will work for both warm season and cool season grass. The one thing I would say for cool season grass is during the summer months, you're going to want to back off on the amount of nitrogen you're feeding. But overall, this will work for both grass types, cool and warm season. And you can find it for free on the blog of the Golf Course Lawn Store. I'll actually post that in the chat for you guys, so you guys don't have to go out and click and move around. But yeah, that's that at a very high level is what I'm going to be doing. The thing that's not in there are some of the cultural practices that's going to be new for this upcoming season. So the turf raking and verticutting is not captured there, but that's something that I'm going to be doing this upcoming year for sure. So on a regular basis, because I mean, you got to think about it. I got the C27 when, like June-ish, late June, I think it was. I have to look at the video and see when I got it, and it made a huge difference in how the lawn looked. A dramatic difference in appearance. I didn't have the disease problems that I've had in years past. Overall, the only negative is that I was spending more time in the lawn, and given that I like spending time in the lawn anyway, not really negative. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how this upcoming season, when I start with that, where I'm able to verticut it and just turf rake it, just in general, just keep the lawn, just keep it free of thatch, like the difference it's going to make in the appearance of it. Really looking forward to that this upcoming season. All right, next up is Doug 350Z with the twin turbo kit on it. He says, you shouldn't need to oversee Bermuda if it isn't spreading. You need to check why first. I agree with that, Doug 350Z, wholeheartedly. So yeah, EDub, I would, as far as overseeding, I know I've done that in the past, but really not a fan of doing it. You'll notice here, in the last couple of years, I've not really recommended doing that, and I don't really recommend it for most people, because people that put Bermuda grass seed down on an existing lawn are trying to correct a problem. In most cases, anyway, they're trying to correct a problem the wrong way. So if you have an area of your lawn that is not growing, right, the grass is not growing there for whatever reason, and it's Bermuda. You need to find out if there's a shade problem, if there's some kind of soil issue that's causing it to be the grass to not grow there, or if there's some debris like underneath the surface of the soil of the lawn that's causing a growth problem. Because in general, if Bermuda has enough sunlight, that being like the critical thing, enough sunlight, and you're feeding it a decent diet of nitrogen, it's going to spread and it's going to fill in nice. It's going to spread like wildfire. So if it's not growing in that area, you need to figure out why. Because here's what will happen: if you don't do that, if you don't figure out what the problem is, and you go and you try and put Bermuda grass seed or any other grass seed down there, even if you can get it to germinate, you're likely to end up right where you started because you didn't correct the underlying problem that was causing grass to not be there in the first place. If you want to use Bermuda, use grass seed to establish a new lawn, you can absolutely do that. It's a lot more work to do it that way. And given the availability of really high quality sod like Tahoma 31, like I would just go that route, man. It's easier. It's going to be, as far as getting the lawn looking nice faster, it's going to be a faster process. And it's just, there's a lot of benefits to doing sod than going the seed route. The one advantage I'd say that seed has over sod, right? Let's say a case where you have a lawn, let's take like, for example, my lawn, right? If I were going to renovate my lawn and start over from scratch, right? I was going to burn it all down, get rid of all the Bermuda and put in like another Bermuda, right? And I didn't want to do sod. The benefit of not doing sod on my lawn, one that's already been leveled and it's already looking pretty nice the way I want it, is that if I kill the existing grass, get rid of it, and then put seed down, for the most part, it's going to preserve the grade. Like it's not gonna change a whole lot. I'm not gonna have to go out and do a top dressing afterwards to correct like uneven spots that you are definitely gonna have to do if you do sod. So with sod, in other words, if I took my lawn, killed it, and said I was going to do like a Tahoma 31 installation, right? Like I'm going to renovate the lawn and do Tahoma 31. I was going to do a sod renovation. Regardless of how good a job I did preparing it, you're still going to need a top dress or a lawn level afterwards to get it back to looking how it looks now. Whereas if you were to go seed, for the most part, what you started with from a grade standpoint is what you're going to end up with from a grade standpoint. The price you pay for keeping that though is it's more expensive from a watering standpoint. It's easier to mess up. So if you don't have adequate water, if your timing is wrong to where you do it, too early in the season, or too late, in other words, if you don't get good germination, that's going to be a thing. And even if you get good germination, it's unlikely that the entire thing is all going to grow in evenly. You're going to have some areas that grow in faster than others. So from a standpoint of going from zero to hero as quickly as possible, sod is a better way to go. Sod is a better and faster way to go. Just again, the only negative is that you're going to have to top dress it afterwards if you want that golf course lawn look once you're done. So unfortunately, like most things in life, there is no free lunch. There's pros and cons to everything, but for most people, like 90% of people, I say sod is a better way to go than seed for establishing a new lawn, because most people have no idea how much water it's going to take to get it, the prep work, and also just to get it to germinate well. So thanks for chiming in, 350Z. Appreciate you. Next up is Rob's Blazer. He says, hope everyone had a great Christmas and wish you a happy New Year. I did. It was a good Christmas, and New Year should be fun as well. And yeah, looking forward to that. Hopefully, something that's been on my list for a while is I will hopefully have a new chair. So the Christmas gift that I got is hopefully a new chair. I've been sitting on. If you guys see what I sit on, you guys would laugh at me. You say like, you have really great cameras, lenses, the whole set is really nice. But what I sit on is actually very uncomfortable. It's an older wooden chair that I've literally got blankets on and a pillow. You guys can actually see here, actually pillow in the back here for like lumbar support. So I'm finally investing or in getting I was gifted a very nice chair. So hopefully it shows up here soon, and maybe if it shows up by next week, you guys will see it on the live stream. So that's the thing I am really looking forward to, which, given how much time I spend in this chair for both work and just doing this kind of stuff, it's actually crazy that I haven't gotten a good chair, a proper chair for myself as yet. So that's the thing that I am looking forward to. That's my Christmas gift that should hopefully be here soon. So hopefully you guys get to check it out next week if and when it shows up. All right, and definitely at Rob's Blazer, if you guys are gonna, if you're, if you're gonna go out for any kind of New Year celebration, you guys be careful. It's a this time of year is when people. It's a great time of year for being together with friends and family, but unfortunately, it's a time of year when a lot of people are there's a lot of parties and drinking and this kind of stuff. So be careful about being out on the roads late at night this time of year because you don't want to have end up in an accident or some other bad incident. May not even be your fault. So just something just to be cognizant of. All right, E-Dub says 12,000 square feet is a lot. I may also get a Bobcat. It is quite a bit as far as like mixing the material to do it. Yeah, for sure. And then Shoot True says, is spring tall fescue overseeding in North Carolina a yay or nay? Here's the thing. I don't really hear people overseeding with fescue in this area. It tends to be ryegrass. I mean, I guess you could overseed with fescue, but I just don't know many people. I don't know if many people doing that. It's certainly not as popular as doing a rye overseed. So you can find out. What I would do is this: Shoot True in your area. Just do some research and see if anyone in your area is overseeding with a fescue. And if it were me, I would have done that in the fall. I don't know about doing it in the springtime. So let's say this: even if say overseeding with fescue is a thing, right? You can overseed Bermuda with fescue grass seed. The springtime is not the time I really want to do that, right? Because if you have Bermuda or zoysia, which you would likely have in North Carolina, that's when that's going to be waking up. So I would leave the cool season grasses, the fescues, the ryes, the Kentucky bluegrass for like a fall overseed. So you have a green lawn during the fall months, winter, in the early spring, and then whenever the Bermuda, the warm season grass is starting to wake up, you're going to get rid of the fescue, whatever else you had, and let that be your lawn, your grass for during the spring and summer months. That's the way I would do it. So I would say the fall, even if you can, the fall is what I would lean towards instead of the springtime. Again, I'm answering this assuming that your current grass type is a warm season grass and that you want to keep the warm season grass, during the spring and summer months. So hope that helps, sir. Next up, Lavendi is back. He says, awesome. Thanks, Ron. I do appreciate the detailed response. Yeah, man, no worries. That's what I am here for. I always try and answer a question in a way that I would want it answered. So glad that the answer was useful for you. No Name is in the house. It says, hey, Ron and fellow lawn enthusiasts. I'm missing the live. No, you're not. How are you missing the live, but you're here? You're missing it, but you're not really missing it, unless you're here in spirit. That would be kind of creepy. He says, I missed the live, but I will catch the replay. Just want to say thanks for a great year, Ron. Look forward to next year and on his way out. He says, hit that like button if you haven't. I appreciate you, No Name. Thanks for coming in to lead the like button brigade. Appreciate you. And Rich 70 is also here. So guys, I do want to say thanks to you guys that are joined both on YouTube and on Instagram. I'm seeing your names in both places. And thanks for saying hi to some of you guys here. So appreciate that. Thanks for all the support. The next up is Ogsan1. So he has a question here that is not related to turf grass, but it's one that I might be able to help him out with. He says, Happy New Year, Ron. Hope all is well. Last week, you spoke about an Orbi mesh system. Actually, 2 weeks ago, but yeah, whatever. I did speak about it. Can you recommend a system? Thanks. I need better Wi-Fi. Thanks for all you do. Appreciate the green guidance. Yeah, so there's a couple of different options from that are the I think Netgear for the Orbi, right? What I would tell you is if you can get a Wi-Fi 6E system, it's gonna be more expensive. Like here's the thing, I'm gonna show you it here, and it's gonna be sticker shock. But as far as the way to go, that is going to be more, that's gonna give you future-proof you for at least the next five years plus. 6E is the way to go. So they have the Wi-Fi 6 models, and the Wi-Fi 6E models. The reason why you want to go with the Wi-Fi 6E is because Wi-Fi 6E, the 6E standard, is what opens up the 6 gigahertz spectrum, which it offers a lot more channels. It also offers 160 megahertz channel width. So as far as like being able to have a lot more throughput over wireless, like 6E is like the bee's knees. Like Wi-Fi 6 is good, like AX is good, but 6E is like that's better for a lot of reasons. It's faster. It's it's not as congested of a space. Like, Wi-Fi, like 2.4 gigahertz, which is your 802.11a, b, g, n, is you're competing with like baby monitors, with microwaves, with there's a lot of stuff. A lot of things use the 2.4 gigahertz spectrum. With Wi-Fi, with N, and Wi-Fi 6, the 5 gigahertz spectrum, and also 802.11a, 5 gigahertz is available there too. But 5 gigahertz is less congested than 2.4, but 6E, the 6 gigahertz spectrum, is huge in comparison to both the 5 and 2.4. So I say all that to say, even though this is more expensive, this is the one that I would get because it's going to serve you better. Now, Alexander, it's kind of unlikely that right now, let me see, Netgear, Orbi, this guy, Mesh. It's unlikely that unless you have one of the newest iPads, or you have like the newer Android devices, or like a very new laptop, like a really, really new laptop, like a lot of them don't even support 6E as yet, but anything you buy this year or this upcoming year is likely going to support 6E, and just as a good future proof, as a good investment, it's the way to go. You know what I mean? You'll replace your laptop, your phone, your iPads, and this system you'll be able to hold on to for quite a while. And given that it's mesh, it's going to solve a lot of the problems that people have by just trying to have like just one router in the center of their house and having areas of the house where it works well and doesn't work well. So mesh is the way to go. And that system is the one that I would get. It's more expensive, but even if it means saving up a little bit more, that is what I would go with over the AX version, So hope that helps, sir. Great question. All right. Jesus Prado says, you need a triplex. It would save you a whole bunch of time. It would, but the problem with a triplex is I need a place to park it. You know what I mean? I don't have any more garage space. Like I've got, the cars are in there, and then I've got, my Essential G piled up in there, and then all the other stuff, all the other products that I have piled up in different spots. There's just literally no space in the garage for a triplex. So that's why. And really, Jesus, even though it looks big, even though this looks really big, it doesn't take that long to cut it. You know what I mean? This looks like it's really big. It's like around 9,000-ish square feet, what you're looking at. Because I'm not setting at the edge, but from the patio, like this whole back lawn area, is around 9,000 square feet. And it takes 35, 40 minutes, if I'm slow to cut it, because there's no obstacles, right? It's literally like mowing a sports field. There's nothing I got to mow around. So I could just really burn through it, make my turns, and just keep going. So, so that's real. And this is really the only part of the lawn that a triplex would work on. I can't use a triplex or triplex on my front lawn because of the slope. It's too wide for the vanity strip, and it's not going to work in the swale area. So I'd be really buying it just to mow 9,000 square feet, which is kind of overkill given that one I've got, I've already got a pretty wide mower, and that does everything I need. And the triplex, if I decided to get the, like all I would be using it for is mowing, right? So as far as being able to turf rake with it, you can't really do that. You can get verticutting cartridges or heads for it, but then that's like another huge expense. So now if I were to get that, I'd have to have the mower, the cutting units, the cutting heads, and then I'd also have to have the verticutting heads. So I'd have to have a place also to store those. So it's just a lot of extra stuff that is really overkill given the size of my lawn. So that's why I will probably not own one. It'd be cool to run one day. If someone had one that I could borrow or wants to bring it by for me to run down the lawn just to try it out, it'd be cool. But as far as like actually owning one, I don't think that's really in the cards for me, because I've got like, as far as equipment goes, I'm pretty much set with what I need to do everything that I want to do on the lawn. All right, next up is can't stop walking, but love mowing and cruising. That is a very, very unique handle or name for your YouTube channel and your name on YouTube. Can't stop walking, but love mowing and cruising. Says hello everyone in the chat. Hello, can't stop walking, but love mowing and cruising. Appreciate you coming to hang out on this not quite New Year's Eve, but last live stream of 2022. So it might be a short show tonight, guys. I mean, the one talking point, the one thing I wanted to really cover as far as that question, we covered it. So if you guys have any other questions or anything else you guys want to talk about, feel free to chime in. Tonight's the night to do it. Travis Winston is up next. He says, "What's up, Ron and Golf Course Lawn Squad? Happy New Year to everyone." Thank you so much, Travis. Appreciate you as well. Thanks for coming to hang out in the live stream. Green M is also saying, "How's it going, everyone?" Ron, hope everyone is safe and well. Early New Year's to everyone. Yeah, definitely early New Year's to you, Green M. If you're gonna get out there and have fun and go to parties, whatever, be safe out there for sure. And then next up is let's see, Dixon Yerma says, it's a good question. It says, "Has the soul of the mole you killed visited you in your dreams?" No, it hasn't. Not yet. And I got to tell you, I was scarred for a while after that mole dug up the lawn. For the next, like probably the next month afterwards, when I'd wake up in the morning, I'd walk outside to go check the mail. Like I would either if I go to the front door, I'd look at the lawn just to see if there's anything happening, or if I went out the back door and went the long way to go check the mail. I would look over the front lawn, just hoping I wasn't going to see more trails in the lawn from moles. So that was not a good experience. But no, it is not. It has not come to has not visited me. Hopefully, it has moved on to it and his friend, his kinfolk have moved on to other lawns. It'll leave my lawn alone, leave Alex's lawn alone, because we don't want moles. Moles are terrible. But yeah, well, hopefully it stays that way, Dixon. All right, Luis Ayabarreño is in the house. I think I said your name properly. Hopefully, I didn't butcher it. Says, "Good evening. Joined late. Ron, I don't know if this has been asked before, but can you apply liquid aeration early while the grass is still dormant to treat clay soil?" Can you apply liquid aeration product early? A lot of those products are. I mean, can you? If it depends what the label says. I don't really use I've never used like aerate or any of the other, a lot of the other liquid aeration products. If it were me, I would wait until like you're getting closer to the lawn, or the weather getting to where the lawn is going to come out of dormancy. So when things are starting to warm up, that is when I would begin introducing those types of products. I don't know that you're going to get a whole lot out of them when the soil is very cold. I would just wait if it were me. Can you do it? If the question you're asking, is it going to hurt anything? The answer is no. It's not going to hurt anything. But are you going to get the benefits that you would versus waiting until like late February, early March? I think you'd be better served doing that. But if you got a bunch of it and you don't care and you just want to experiment, feel free to put it down. Like, it's for the same reason I don't apply NutriKelp or Release Zero really over the winter months. Really a lot of those products, they the grass isn't growing, so it's not really going to get a lot of the benefit of it. And as far as microbial activity, like activity in the soil, it's slowed down when during the winter months. It's not nearly as active as when it's in the spring and summer months. So for those reasons, while I could apply them, the grass isn't growing anyway, so it's kind of just putting money out there for no good reason. So I would wait. If it were me, Luis, I would wait. But it's your call. Your call. You're not. If your question is, are you going to hurt anything? You're not going to hurt anything. But I don't know that that the juice is worth the squeeze by doing it this time of year. Ben Raham is up. Says, "Happy New Year. Happy New Year, Ben. Happy New Year. Hopefully all is you had a good Christmas. Santa visited you and you got lots of cool toys, and that you've got good plans for 2022. For 2022, man, I'm really looking forward to taking the lawn to another level, mainly through like the cultural practices. I'm gonna introduce PGR a little bit earlier this year, like a couple of weeks. When I say a little bit earlier, like Aprilish time frame. Normally I wait till the first week of May, but I'm gonna, depending on how temps are doing, like mid-April, a couple of weeks earlier, I'm thinking about doing my first PGR app. I want to play with that and see what kind of results I get. But overall, I've got a good system. The things that have changed in last year to this year and compared to years past are the turf raking and the verticutting. And then next year again, I just plan to take that to another level. That is the plan. G Free says, "Hey Ron, Stripe Action Gang, I think we're about to get a warm up. Happy New Year's, guys and gals." Yeah, speaking about that, guys. So you guys, I always tell you how I apply Essential G pretty much year round because in Georgia we don't have crazy winters, we don't have crazy weather. So 3 days ago, when the entire country was freezing to death, I actually saw a I think I saw it on the news. They said there are some parts of Canada during that winter blast that came down that were colder than the temperature of Mars at the equator. That's how cold it got on some parts of Canada, how cold it was from that winter blast. So I say all that to say, like here in Georgia, we got down, at least my area got down to 7 degrees. Like I woke up in the morning, looked at my watch, it said it's 7 degrees outside, and it was really cold. And then today it was in the 50s. Literally, Alex and his family were out on the porch, again, hanging out, drinking cocktails, solving all the problems of humanity. And it was a gorgeous day. It was a great day to be outside. So it just shows you how, our winters, even as extreme as that was, how the winters in Georgia are relatively mild. You have like really, really cold weather for a couple of days, and then it'll warm up into the 50s, 40s, and 50s, just like what we had today, where you could be outside and it was very, very nice. So, which is a nice advantage of being in Georgia. So you can get your Essential G down year round. On the topic of Essential G, that should be back in stock next week. We should be able to set that live for orders again next week. So I know you guys been saying, hey, what the Hades, where the Essential G said it was going to be for Christmas time and all this kind of stuff. Here's the thing. I mean, waiting until this following week it was a good call anyway, because the warehouse that ships the Essential G is shut down for, between Christmas, all this week they're shut down. So nothing would have shipped anyway. So versus you guys, order it the week of Christmas, then I get a bunch of emails asking, hey, where's my stuff? It's just better to wait until the week of January 3rd till next week, and then you can order it, and then everything as far as deliveries are normal, like what you would expect. So good stuff. All right. Let's see. Robert Majuro says, "I find it difficult to believe that I have remained the show sponsor up to this point." Well, wait, dang it, Robert, I still haven't fixed this. I haven't got you. You said Robert Majoros. Let me get you up here as far as the show sponsor. I find it difficult to believe that I have remained the show sponsor up to this point. If you guys know what I mean. Yeah, you have been. And because I am failing at my job, I didn't put you up right away. So I'm sorry about that. My sincerest apologies. It was not intentional. Super sorry. And yeah, you are the show sponsor. No one else has put down any more super chats. I guess they don't love me anymore, guys. Like last week, everyone was very generous with their giving, but I guess they're like saying, "Hey, we spent all our money on Christmas presents. We hooked you up a little bit last week. This week, you're on your own." Oh well, c'est la vie. All right, Doug is back next. He says, "I will be sleeping during the New Year's Eve countdown, but I have X Lights light show that will be my waking up my neighbors at midnight." Isn't that the truth? I remember when I was, not that I'm really old now, right? But when I was younger, I'd be like, "Oh yeah, it's gonna be awesome. Stay up till midnight and bring in the new year." And now it's like 9:30, 10 o'clock. It's like, man, I don't know, just need to have a bourbon and go to sleep. Just call it a night. You know what I mean? I don't know. It depends. If Alex and them are around or whatever, we'll probably hang out. But staying up super late is not the same amount of fun that it used to be, 10, 15, 20 years ago. So I hear you, Doug, but at least it's good to know that you've got a show set up for the neighborhood whenever 2023 comes here. All right, let's see. Charles Wallace, BFF. What is the BFS dance? I am. Let's see. I have no idea what BFS dance is. Charles Wallace says, "Can you give us instructions on how to do the BFS dance?" I have no idea what that is. I'm gonna Google it here really quick. I'm probably gonna hurt myself here. Black Friday. Oh, you talking about the Black Friday sale? I guess BFS, is that what you mean? Black Friday sale dance? I don't know. Not sure what the question is, Charles. If you want to chime in and give it and clear it up, I will. I'll try and answer it, but I'm not sure what you mean by BFS. By that, I think you mean like maybe Black Friday sale, but I don't. It's kind of way past that. So I don't know. I'm probably showing BFS. Let me see. Oh, okay. I saw your other question. Oh, broadcast file system. Um, yeah. So the DNCS, digital, what DNCS is digital network controller system. So this is Charles. You must have worked at Scientific Atlanta, man. You must have been. You must talk about a blast from the past. Wow, this takes me way back. I don't even remember the BFS dance. So as far as the sequence when you would bounce processes to whenever the broadcast file system wasn't pushing out like either like the program guide or the what else went over BFS? There are a lot of stuff that went on BFS, but I forget, man. It's been, dude, you're talking about over 15 years at this point, close to almost 20 years at this point. Wow. Wow, a blast from the past. Wow, Charles. Wow. Wow. You know, it's funny. I drove past where Scientific Atlanta used to be. It's now Cisco. I think it's Cisco, and now it's Technicolor owns that the campus now. But it's not Scientific Atlanta anymore. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. Wow. BFS, not Black Friday. Yeah, talk about the DNCS. Wow. Yeah, man. So yeah, what were the three components? It was the DNCS server, the TED, that was the encryption server, and then the application server, right? The app server. Yeah, and then your qualms and QPSKs. Man, that was you talk about like hardcore nerd stuff, man. Like it was. If you guys want to know how cable TV worked, like I used to be able to tell you like how cable TV like worked like in detail. If you asked me that question many years ago, I used to be that guy. You know, whenever they would do system upgrades or set-top box firmware upgrades, there was a lot of wow. That's a blast from the past, man. That takes me back. Takes me back. All right. Next up, we got Ben Raham. He says, "I'm giving 1,000 square feet up for a garden. Okay. If I rent a sod cutter and move the Bermuda in the next few weeks, is it likely to survive the transplant in your climate area?" I don't know. I've never done it this time of year. I'm inclined to say yes. I'm inclined to say that it would make it, but um, given given that your garden, you're not going to, I don't think you're going to be growing anything in your garden before springtime anyway, and 1,000 square feet, you're only 20 by 50, it's not a huge area. Why not just wait? Why not wait until late February to do this? That's going to give you a better chance for success. And if you're going to start planting your garden, I imagine you're not going to likely do that until the springtime anyway. I'm if we're a betting man, I'm thinking the Bermudas is likely going to be okay. But I would just, if you want to give yourself a higher chance of success, I would wait. I would give it time. I would wait till you're closer to springtime than to do anything like that versus this time of year. But it's probably going to be okay. All right, next up is Jim Carson. He has a question here. He says, question, since I laid my tough lawn, I'm getting what seems to be foxtail coming through the sod. How should I deal with it? The lawn has been installed on November 1st. My lawn is still greenish. If it's a little bit, you can pull it or you can just spray for it. Most 3-ways like Triad will get rid of it. Celsius will also kill that. But that's not a difficult weed to get rid of. If you want to, if it bugs you enough that you want to get rid of it, you can spray it out. That's going to be fine. And now, given that you said it's only coming through, I imagine it's only coming through the areas where the sod like meets or butts up. I would limit to your herbicide to those areas. Like I wouldn't blanket spray the entire lawn. Just spray the areas where it is, and you'll be good to go. Yeah, the Bermuda will tolerate that just fine. Just make sure again you follow the label rates. The rate that I use for Celsius for 4 gallons. So if you have the cup, which is not, I'm not sure it's going to show up here on the camera. If I can get it to show up here, if I get to focus, let's see here. Can I? All right. So on here, which you can't see, there's a marking for 0.45. 0. Like that is the rate for 4 gallons of water. So if you're going to do 4,000 square feet, so if you got like a lot of foxtail, then that is what you can go with. If you are just going to be spot spraying, mix like half or a quarter of that to mix up less product. Make sure you use surfactant with it, and then yeah, that should knock it out. But again, there's a lot of other herbicides that will kill foxtail as well. But Celsius is a good option if you're looking for something to do it. But or you could just wait and till springtime to get rid of it if you want. It's really up to you how much it bugs you. Really up to you, Jim. Next up is Ben Raham. He says, after starting from scratch with seed last year, I have a few spots to fill in. Should I push for those to fill in after green up before sand leveling, or go ahead and sand level earlier in the season? I'd wait for them to fill up. I'd wait until temperatures are warmer. Like if you're saying like doing a sand leveling now or do a sand leveling like in like February, like it's not gonna help the situation. If anything, it's just gonna make it worse. I would wait until next year when the lawn wakes up, and ideally the grass that's there. I mean, obviously not necessarily going to germinate, but as far as the areas that are a little bit thinner, they should thicken up as the grass spreads into it. So what Ben is his question is a great point or a great reason as to why um why seeding isn't always a like a one and done type thing, right? So if you seed your lawn, it's not like it's all going to grow in all even all at once. Like again, I had Bermuda. When I had Bermuda in a planter, it started growing in on the edges, and then it wasn't until the end of the season that the Bermuda filled in really fully. With zoysia, it didn't even fill in really until the following year. So that's what you're experiencing is completely normal. What I would say is wait until the temps are there. Wait till like May time frame. Like, and by then the grass, like your existing grass should be greened up nicely. It should be well on its way to spreading and filling in. And if you want to top dress in the May time frame, again going light, then there shouldn't be an issue then if you also want to also introduce more of the same grass seed to try and get those spots to germinate and fill in more. So yeah, but I would not do it early. To answer your question, I would not do it early. I would wait until there's heat and the conditions are such that your lawn will the grass is going to take off and begin spreading on its own. All right, so let's see who else we got here in Instagram. We got some few people jumping in here. Rocket Scientist, Demola, other people that are popping into the live stream. All right, and then Charles Paul says, "Yeah, we went to Spotsylvania together back in the day." Yep. Yeah, man, dude, we used to travel, man. You guys, the thing with traveling now, I really don't like traveling for work, and working for Scientific Atlanta is what ruined it for me. Like my job when I moved from the Caribbean to here, when I moved in 2000, I think it was when it was, is I was a field engineer for SA, for Scientific Atlanta. And what we used to do is go around the country installing these these systems that are it's like digital cable, like digital network control systems that involved installing three different servers, like again the DNCS, the TED, and an app server. They all ran on Solaris, like Solaris 8. So it shows you how old a lot of this stuff was. Like Solaris isn't even really a thing anymore. And so they all run in Solaris, and then we also install hardware, and then would go out and balance the plant before we turned it over to the customer. Got to play with like spectrum analyzers, and it was cool. It was really cool because you get to learn a lot about RF and a lot around just how television or digital television or cable television worked. And now none of that really matters anymore. It's not really a thing anymore because now the internet is caught up to where it's all digital, right? It's all streamed. So like YouTube TV is like where how TV is going to be done like going forward. Like it's only in areas that don't have the bandwidth, don't have the infrastructure to be able to support it, is where like cable boxes will still be around, but that's eventually all going to go away to IPTV. But yeah, that's what I used to do way back in the day. And Charles, yeah, man, we used to travel. Yeah, Tim and a bunch of other guys. Cool, man, that takes me back. But yeah, that's the reason why I don't like traveling for work anymore. Like there was the year when I left the company from January to June, I was home 12 days, 12 days, and that included the weekends. So do the math on that. So I was traveling a ton, which is why I hate traveling for work. All right, next up is Sam J. He says, Ron, thanks for all your help and supplies this year. I need an irrigation system. Any vendor recommendation as I'm in your area, Mall of Georgia area? Yeah, so rainwater irrigation can do it. Those guys will do it, and also Austin will do it. Actually, I'll put Mayfield Irrigation can do it. So I'll give you a couple of names here. If you look up my video on how to replace sprinkler heads from not last year, maybe the year before, it's funny, man. When you get older, the time just runs together. Let's see here, sprinkler. Yeah, here we go. How to replace your sprinkler heads. This video here, Mayfield, Austin with Mayfield Irrigation. I think he's still in the business. Reach out to him. He can help you out. Tell him that Ron sent you. He'll probably charge you triple. And but yeah, Austin's a good guy. Does great work. Reach out to him, and then also Rainwater Irrigation, who did Alex's install, is also a good company. Austin does the more traditional installation process as far as like trenching, laying pipes, that type of thing. Rainwater Irrigation does like the vibratory trenching. They use like a ditch switch, which is less trauma, less trauma to the lawn as far as like makes less of a mess. But it's but with the way that Austin does it, you're able to get the pipes deeper. You know what I mean? So it's kind of six half a dozen which way you want to go. And I'll put this guy, rainwater, lawn sprinklers, and outdoor lighting. Ask for Mike. So again, this is from like almost 3 years ago whenever we did the Fix My Ugly Lawn series. So he may or may not still be in business now, but these are two people that I've personally dealt with that are they do good work. And so reach out to them, and if they can't do it, you can always recommend someone else, and they should be able to hook you up. But yeah, getting an irrigation system done is this is a good time of year to do that. You know what I mean? At least if you're in Georgia, because you figure you're not having to do it during the springtime whenever you want to get out there and mow, and by then, if you get it done now, you're not having to make your lawn look ugly in the middle of the growing season. So earlier in the season is not a bad plan. Not a bad plan. Travis Winston says, hey, Ron, are you going to top dress your lawn next season? If so, are you going to use the same company? So I will do a light top dressing of just the front lawn with just compost. That is the plan. Just another carbonized PN of just the back lawn, I'm thinking. That's the plan. And if I do that, I'll do it myself. And maybe I can convince Alex, maybe if I ask him real nice, and just kind of, he might be able to help me out, but yeah, that's the only big plan. If it's going to be any major work, I would likely give Richard a call, but it doesn't need it, guys. I mean, if you look at it now, like the lawn got a heavy top dress last year, like heavier than I would have done it, and it looks really smooth. If you look at that, that's pool table flat. I mean, it looks smooth, and believe me, it is. It's very, very flat, very smooth. When I run the mower on it, there's no bouncing or there's no washboarding or anything. It is smooth as smooth can be. So I don't know that if I were to top dress it again next year that I would get a ton out of it. But so yeah, so probably not next year. Probably not next year. Now again, if it happens, you guys can pull this video up and say, hey, you said you were going to do it and you did it anyway. But I don't think next year the back lawn will get a top dress. It's more than likely to be the front. That's the plan anyway. We'll see. But plans change. Plans can change, right? And then Jim's saying, check out Sprinkler Warehouse. They're in Texas. I've used them on several times. But I think he's saying, Jim, he's asked for someone that's local. So yeah, and also, Sam, outside of those two names, call up, give Central Turf and Irrigation in Buford. They're off of 13. Off of Buford Highway at is it Buford Highway in I think it's Sumner or Summer Drive. It's like an S in the beginning of the street they're on. Give those guys a call too. They'll also be able to recommend some people as well in this area that do irrigation work. But give Austin a shout and or Mike at Rainwater and see if they've got time to get you fit in. Mazama Blues in the house says, Happy New Year, Ron. Thanks for the great advice throughout the years. You're very, very welcome, sir. I hope your lawn did well last season and that it was useful, and that next year it will be even that much more better. Ben is up next. He says, I considered conceding the lawn from scratch in June and having an 80% strong coverage success. I do not want to introduce more seed to fill in and cause a type of issues or cause any kind of type of issues or look issues. Hoping to do my first sand leveling in May. That's what I would do, Ben. If you like went through a full renovation and you've still got a couple of thin areas, then I would give it time. I would give it till May of this upcoming year, and by then the lawn should really wake up and fill in. Assuming there's nothing that to really prevent it from doing that, I would do that. I would just patience is the order of the day when it comes to establishing a lawn from grass seed. Like if you want fast, use sod. Like literally with sod, you can like have like a bare lawn one day, and then the next day you have a lawn that's covered in grass, right? So that's if you want fast, go with sod. If you want patient, if you want, and depending on the size of your lawn, can save you some money, seeds. If you've got a really, really big lawn, seed makes sense. If you have a smaller lawn, then, and when I say smaller, 10,000 square feet, 10,000 square feet or less, sod makes a lot more sense. You can go bigger with sod. You can do sod on a larger lawn, but it starts to get pretty expensive once you start getting up to higher acreage or higher square footage. So like 30,000 square feet of sod would be very, very expensive compared to going the seed route. All right, let's see. Next up, we have Louis. We're almost out of questions, guys. It might be a short night tonight. We got Louis is back. He says, I bought several MySoil kits as gifts. I kept one along with the probe. I changed my mind and ordered the wrong ones. Are you able to post the link to the right one? Yes. Okay, so what you are talking about. So we'll go back here. If you go to the Golf Course Lawn Store and go to shop and to soil test kits. There we go. If you go to right here. So you're asking for, you kept the one with the probe. I changed my mind and ordered the wrong ones. Are you able to post the link to the right one? Okay, so I'm not exactly sure what you're asking. There are two kits. There are two kits you can order, or two packages you can order that include the probe. So you have the Pro Pack, which includes 2 soil test kits and 1 probe. You have the Starter Pack, which has 1 soil test kit and 1 probe. So if you're just getting started out, that's what you want to go with. And if in your case where you already have a probe, what you're going to want is this one. So with this one, you can get a single pack, you can get a 2-pack, you can get a 4-pack. And as you go up, as you buy more of them, you get a price break. So, 1 is, $30, 2 is $56, and then 4 is $109. So that would by all rights would be what, $120 thereabouts if you were to do like 4 singles. So by buying a 4-pack, you do save some money. So one of these, which you're going to want to go with, Luis, and I will give you a link. I think this is the one you're going to want. So let's see here at Luis Abierino, and there you go, and boom, there you go. So that is the one. That's the link that you will want to go with as far as your soil test kits. Autumn's in the house. What's going on, Autumn? I'm saying hi. What's going on, Autumn? Hopefully you're doing well. Hopefully you guys are staying warm out there out west. Hopefully all is going well with you. Thanks for coming to hang out in the show as always. I appreciate the support. Next up, we got Mike Harvey. He says, hi, Ron. I applied Certainty about 3 weeks ago for POA. I will need to hit it again. If so, how long between applications? You should not need to. Again, I've had really good success with Certainty for POA with a single application. Here's the thing, Mike. I've never had to apply it more than once to kill POA. One time has been enough. So if you, by 3 weeks, you should start. The POA should be yellowing. You should see a change in color. If another week goes by, so say 4 weeks goes by, a month's gone by from the initial application, and you're not seeing anything, one, double check your rates, and then you can apply it again. But again, I've one is pretty much what I've needed to get good results with certainty against Poa Annua. Also, make sure you're using surfactant with it. I've always used it with surfactant. I don't know that I mean, you still should get decent results without it, but with surfactant, it's definitely going to work. So if you did it 3 weeks ago and you're not seeing any change at all in the POA, give it another week, and then you can do another application. But I'm giving you I'm talking about something that I've never experienced myself, because I've a single application is all I've really needed of certainty to get rid of POA. So hope that helps her. Give it another week and smack it again if you need to. Again, make sure you use surfactant. Make sure you are mixing it at the correct rates, and should be good to go. All right, next up is Linda Hayes. Linda says, good evening. Evening, Linda. I mean, thanks for coming to hang out in the live stream. If you have any questions, now would be a great time. There's not a lot of other question or comments that I am seeing here, guys. So we might be knocking off early. Let me see if there's anyone here in the gram that has questions as well. So Linda saying, she says, I'm seeing an increase in creeping Charlie. Okay. I want to say there's a couple different options for creeping Charlie. Spectracide, which is like a fairly low cost way of going, is labeled for creeping Charlie. I believe Celsius will do it as well too. Let me see here. Charlie, I mean, there's a lot of different herbicides you can use for, yeah. So ground ivy or creeping Charlie, this will do it as well too. Celsius, we carry that on the golf course lawn store. So right here, you can pick this up. That will do it. But again, Spectracide, which you can get at any of your big box stores, or Celsius with surfactant will also take care of that as well. There's a lot of different herbicides that will kill creeping Charlie. It's not a difficult one. It's not an especially difficult one to get rid of. So again, we've got it in stock at the golf course lawn store under the herbicide section. I'll just show you here really quick. So you go to shop and then weed killer, and Celsius will do it. Triad may also do it as well. You have to check the label for that, but Celsius with surfactant, these two should do a good job knocking out the creeping Charlie. All right, we have some more comments here. One from Darren Proctor says, "Hey Ron, thanks again for the shirt." Jose, sorry, it fits. Yeah, I remember Jose was giving him a hard time saying, "Oh, yeah, you don't want that shirt. It's not going to fit." So I'm glad it made it to you, Darren. Congrats on the shirt. It's a really nice shirt, man. The Miramichi green shirts, those are pretty sweet. It's a nice thick cotton, so should hold up to use in the lawn. So which is nice. I'm glad it made it to you safe. And then Bay Raham says, if Poe was going to be an issue, it would be up by now. Yeah, Ben, I think the problem he was saying is that he tried to get rid of the POA with certainty, and he's not seeing it die off. He's not seeing it fall off. I've not experienced that. So, I'm just the advice I gave him was to check his rates, check the rates. And then if another week or so goes by, you're not seeing any change in color or anything that's giving you an indication that the POA is beginning to die off, because which you'll find, or what I have found, Mike, is that it's not going to just shrivel up and die like how Celsius kills spurge. What you're going to find is that it's going to lose its color. Like Poa is pretty vibrant, it's a fairly vibrant green. And when the certainty is beginning to take effect, what you're going to find is it's going to become a more pale green, and then from there it'll begin dying off. So it'll go from a vibrant green to a more palish green, almost like how whenever you spray weeds with tenacity, how it bleaches them. I mean, not quite to that effect, but how the color goes out of the plant, the weed being targeted, along those lines, but a milder version of it. So it loses its color. It doesn't shrivel up and turn brown and die off like how what Celsius does to spurge, but it does. The big thing you'll notice is it's going to be a big difference in color. It's going to get lighter and sickly looking, and that's a good sign that it's beginning to work, and it should fall away and die off shortly thereafter. Okay, next is JD. Let's see here. JD says, "Hey Ron, what's your recommendation for getting rid of wild onion?" Thanks. So for wild onion, you can use Image. Image will do it. I don't believe I don't believe Celsius is labeled for let me see if it's labeled for wild onion. I don't think so. But Imazaquin image will do that. I don't think I see. I don't think that's on the label. Let me look here really quick. So I can pull up the label for Celsius really quick here and see if onion is on it. I don't think. Let's see if it is. Oh, it is. I lie. I'm wrong. So wild onion. So you can use a Mazaquin image, which is going will work, which is going to be slower, or you can use Celsius for wild onion as well. This with surfactant as well. And looking at the label, you can use just a standard rate. So the rate that I was showing earlier, the rate that I show in the video that's in the product description for this. So if you go to the store, I'll actually show you here really quick. If you go to the store and you go to Celsius or Certainty and you scroll down, there's a video here. And in this video, oh, is it loading? There it is. In this video, I show how to mix Celsius and Certainty together. But if all you're targeting is just wild onion, you can just use just the rate that is for Celsius. And it's going to be the 0.45, like the marking that's on the included measuring cup, with 4 gallons of water, some surfactant, and away you go. And that is the standard rate that will work for that. So hope that helps, JD. That's likely going to work faster than Imazaquin. Imazaquin will do it too. Image will work too, but as a post-emergent, Celsius is likely to get the job done a little bit faster than Imazaquin. Image is a good product. A lot of people really hate and bag on Image. They go, it's trash, doesn't work. It does work. It's just really slow. Like Image will kill Poa. It will, it's a good herbicide. It's just slow. It's just slow to work. You know what I mean? So if you want it done faster, then go with something like Celsius. All right, Mike Harvey is up next. He says, I usually apply dithiopyr in the spring. If I apply Spectacle, will I need any other pre-emergence, other OTB needs to be done for the year? Can I buy Spectacle now? I'm in upstate New York. So I would not do Spectacle. I would use dithiopyr or Predime. Man, why don't you guys tell me I spelled Robert Majeros's name wrong? I just noticed that. Fix it. Yeah, I would use Prodiamine or dithiopyr. The thing with Spectacle. So I reached out to one of my buddies and I was talking to him about it as well. Because I've used Spectacle in the fall, pretty much only in the fall. And he doesn't. He says while you can use it in the spring, it can slow green up. It can stunt your green up a little bit because again, it's a very good pre-emergent. It's not going to kill your Bermuda, but as far as slowing down how quickly the grass comes out of dormancy, that is one negative aspect of it, which is why he doesn't recommend using it for your spring product. So prodiamine or dithiopyr is a better choice for the springtime. And it's true. If you look at most people that use Spectacle, or even when you watch a lot of the videos online for using Spectacle Flow, it's almost always in the fall. You don't normally see people using it as their spring pre-emergence, like dithiopyr or prodiamine. Either one of those will work well for your spring pre-emergent. Prodiamine will last a little bit longer. Dithiopyr has the advantage that it can kill young crabgrass that prodiamine won't. So either one will work well, and it's really your choice about which way you want to go. And so if you're gonna get Spectacle, I would just wait. I wouldn't get it now. I would get it, buy it. Well, I shouldn't say that. You could buy it now, just leave it on the shelf because the price of that stuff tends to go up every year. I was gonna tell you wait until the end of this next growing season, so like July-ish timeframe, August timeframe, to get it. But it's likely to cost more than it costs now. So if you get a bottle, you keep it sealed, you don't open it up, you should be good to go as far as picking it up now if you want. But I wouldn't apply it now. I would use either prodiamine or dithiopyr in the spring instead of Spectacle Flow. Another thing too is that if you're trying to use it for the purpose of preventing, POA, any POA that's going to germinate likely already has. So you're going to get limited. You're not going to get the benefits from it that you would had versus applying it had you applied it like in late August, early September timeframe. So a bunch of reasons I wouldn't get it now, or I wouldn't apply it now. You can buy it now if you want, but I wouldn't apply it. I wouldn't apply it now. All right, and if you want to use Spectacle, here is a link if you feel like supporting the channel. Spectacle flow. Typing is hard, you guys. Okay, Samuel Henderson is up next. He says, "Can I use Celsius tenacity on my Bermuda lawn now for weed control?" I would not. I would use if you have if you have weeds that that Celsius is labeled to target, which is primarily broadleaf weeds, I would use Celsius. I would not use tenacity. I would not use this on Bermuda grass. Like the only warm season grass I believe this is labeled for is centipede. Like you put this on centipede, but I would not use I would not use tenacity on Bermuda. It's there's just really no reason to do it, right? You know, you think about it, like tenacity is predominantly a cool season. It's a herbicide designed for cool season grasses. We have a whole bunch of herbicides for our that are selective for warm season grass. You got Celsius, you've got Certainty. These are both excellent herbicides. You can combine these two together, and they are both labeled for use on warm season grass, meaning that they're not going to damage your Bermuda, your. I'll put it this way: the only warm season grass you cannot spray this combination on is Bahia grass, and that really only applies to Celsius. Certainty you can spray on all of them, but if you have Bahia grass, which most of you guys probably don't have, that's the one grass type that you don't want to put Celsius on. I would not use tenacity on warm season grass. There's just really no reason to do it. It's the wrong tool for the job. It's the wrong tool for the job. I think I think where that came from is as a pretty popular YouTuber. He put out a video. I mean, it's been several years now on tenacity, showing the effectiveness of it as a herbicide, and it is a very good herbicide. But he has a cool season lawn. Like he lives up north, right? He lives in the Northeast. So for him, tenacity makes a lot of sense. For warm season folk like for us, tenacity is not the proper herbicide to use. You know, now can you spray it if your lawn was completely dormant? If you wanted to do it then, I mean, I guess technically you could, but even then I don't recommend doing it because there's no reason to do that when we have products that are designed for our grass types that are not going to injure our grass types when applied at the correct rates. You know what I mean? So Celsius, yes. Tenacity, no. And Celsius, if the weed you're trying to target, like again, primarily broadleaves, are what Celsius is labeled for, you can find out. I'll show you really quick here, Samuel. We carry Celsius. We carry both of them. We carry Celsius on the Golf Course Lawn Store, but I'll take you over here really quick. And if you have, this is not an exhaustive list, but if you're dealing with, let me find it. If you're dealing with burrweed, all these pass pullum, carpet grass, chamber bitter, purslane. If you're dealing with all these doveweed, dollarweed. Now doveweed it will do, but you got to go up on the rate. You got to go heavier on the application rate for it to work on doveweed, but it does work. But all these and more, so all of these and much more. These are just the ones that were like the more common ones, but there are more weeds in this that it targets. Then Celsius is your jam. But check the label for the complete list. And this is what I would spray on warm season grass. I would not use tenacity. So I would use this on warm season grass. I'll show you some other options here too. I would use Celsius on warm season grass. I would use Certainty on warm season grass. I would use, you could use Sedgehammer, but Certainty's better. So I would use Certainty for warm season grass for your sedges. You could use like a triad this will work on both cool season and warm season grass, or is labeled for use on both of those. And then for your cool season grasses, this is your cool season section. You got Tenacity, Sedgehammer. These are for your cool season grass and centipede grass, right? So warm season and cool season. And if you don't want to take all the guesswork out, we have a kit that has all your warm season herbicides that you're going to need, along with surfactant and marker dye. And if you have cool season grass, we have a kit for that has all of your cool season herbicides and marker dye and surfactant. So we got made it super easy for you right here. If you just want one thing to click on, one thing to solve the problem, just pick one of those and away you go. But yeah, to answer your question, no tenacity on warm season grass. And you said you're in San Antonio, yeah. So you probably have St. Augustine or Bermuda. You're going to want to use Celsius or some other warm season herbicide. And let's see. Nayan Patel says, Spectacle worked from Instagram says, Spectacle worked great on POA and I applied it in the first week of December. Cool. Very nice. Lawn Devil says typing is hard. Well, yeah, when I'm making fun of myself, Lawn Devil. What I'm saying is that because I'm not only typing, but when I'm typing, trying to find questions, also trying to moderate like the comment, like there's people in here doing like people just being trolls. So with like in and of itself, typing is not difficult. But when I'm multitasking, which is when I'm doing a lot of that during the live stream and trying to type accurately, that's what I'm saying is hard. So I'm just making fun of myself. All right. Next is Ben Raham. He's back. He says, I had it bad last year. I'm hoping if it's not gonna stay clear. I'm not sure. What did you have bad last year? Is it POA? Yeah, you had POA. Yep. And he says, will spring pre-emergent keep my bare spots from filling in? Should not. It should not if applied at the proper rates. Like pre-emergent, if you apply it at the correct rates, shouldn't negatively affect your green up, especially if you're using like dithiopyr or prodiamine. Those are not going to negatively affect your spring green up if you apply them. Again, it's always like everything else. When applied at the rates that are on the label, you shouldn't have a negative result from doing that. Should not have a negative result. All right, Nyan's in the house. Patel, man, I haven't seen you in a while, Nyan. Thanks so much. Nyan's a good guy, man. Nyan, way back when, been a couple of years at this point, he hooked me up when I had just the Flow Zones sprayer. He sent me a, that adapter that allows you to use these nozzles on it, like the T-Jet nozzles. He had an extra one and he sent one to me as a gift. So I appreciate that, Nyan. I remember that. So thanks. I appreciate you. Even though it's been several years, thank you for the gift. Appreciate you. All right. Mike Harvey is back. He says, got it. Thanks. Should I use both prodiamine and dithiopyr spaced 30 days apart? I would not. I would do one or the other. It says, I already got one prodiamine application in September. I may have gone the wrong rate. Lots of POA. So at this stage of the game, Mike, if you're trying to get rid of POA, you've got a couple of options. You can use, and I'll give you from slow to fast. You can use Certainty, which is what I would recommend. You can use Image and Masequin, which will work, but it's going to be slow. And you can also use a product called Negate. And it's not one that I commonly recommend because if you're mixing it, I mean, it's effective against POA. It's a good product. It works against POA. But the reason why I don't recommend it, because if you're using it properly, meaning you're mixing it per the instructions on the label, you have to use the entire bottle at once. So to use Negate properly, you're supposed to take the entire contents of the bottle. I think it's either like 1 ounce or 1.5 ounces. Like, let me see here exactly how much it is. So I'm telling you right. It's like it's between 1 and 1.5 ounces, I think. Let's look here. So I can make sure I'm giving you good infos. It is... How big is the Negate bottle? 1.5 ounces. Yes, you're supposed to take the entire 1.5 ounces of Negate, take that and 1 gallon of water. I used to have a thing here I could show you, but you take like a tip and pour. What you can do is you take like 1.5 ounces of Negate with a gallon of water. You pour that in a gallon tip and pour, and that creates your intermediate mix, like a suspension mix. And then you can take, I want to say it's 2 ounces of that, 2 ounces of that concentrate, that water and Negate concentrate, the suspension mix, with a gallon of water, and then you can spray with that. But the problem is that mix, that blend that you have, is really only good for 4 to 6 weeks, and then unless you have you're spraying like an acre, you got a bunch of herbicide that you got to get rid of. So for that reason, I don't really recommend. I don't typically recommend Negate to people because, again, if you're mixing it per the label, you're supposed to mix it all all in one go. So your options are Negate, Image, which will work, but it's really slow, or Certainty, which also works really well. And I've had really good results with it. Normally within a couple of weeks, I see results. So those are the 3 that I have direct experience with against POA. They will all work. And Certainty I find to be the best because it is fat, it works quickly, and you can use a little bit, you can use just what you need for, depending on how much POA you're trying to target. In other words, it lends itself well to spot spraying, whereas negate, not so much. Not so much. Assuming you're mixing it per the label rates. All right. So next, and you said, let me see, what's your question here? I think it's everything. I think it's everything you had. But yeah, to answer your question, I would not do prodiamine and dithiopyr. I would do one or the other. I would not do. I would not do both. I would not do both pre-emergence, because I also think to keep in mind too is that if say like late next month, so late January, early December, early February, you get your pre-emergent application down. That's not going to do anything for POA. Like the POA that you have is already there. Your spring pre-emergent application, or your late winter, early spring pre-emergent application, that is to prevent like crabgrass and spring and summer weeds. That's not going to do anything for POA. Like POA is already, that ship has pretty much sailed at this point. So if you're trying to get rid of it, now you are in the mode of post-emergent herbicides to take care of it. So I don't want you to get the idea that if you use those now, or even 30 days from now, that they are going to do much against POA, because they're not. It's not going to be very effective for that. All right, so we got a super chat here, one from Mr. Ben Raham. Thank you so much, Ben. Let me get up in here and get that up. Thank you so much, Ben.
Super chat received.
Thank you for the super chat. Appreciate the support. I don't think I missed you, but I guess I did. If not, I gave you a super chat twice. Next up is 2 Trilla. It says, happy Friday, everyone. Hey, Ron, I know I'm late, but you should definitely oversee next season. If you do, I will do it also. Oh, so you're trying to say that if I'm going to be feeling the pain, you want me to feel, you'll take the pain along with me? I'd like to do it because it'll be fun. I've never done it. I've never done it myself. And it would be a cool experiment to try, right? It'll be something fun to try. It'll allow me to make content over the fall and winter months, which is kind of cool. There's that. That's a good reason to do it too. And it'll be nice. It'll be cool. Can you guys imagine this in the winter months? That green, that would be fire, right? It'd be really, really nice. Especially when all the other lawns around here are dormant. It would look really cool. Now, granted, like the spring of 2024, I'll probably be cursing myself and hating life, being like, why did I do this? It was the dumbest thing ever. I don't know why, but it's all in fun, right? Just something to do. Something different. But I will keep you posted, 2 Trilla, and I am leaning towards it. Not 100% committed yet, but I'm really leaning towards doing that. All right. Let's see. Mike Harvey says, okay, I'm not worried about the POA. It is what it is at this point. Yep, good. I just want to be all set for the spring, so I avoid all the spring summer weeds, especially since I messed up the fall app. Yeah, no worries, man. Again, when it comes to pre-emergent, I am a fan of being early. Early is better than late. I have done my spring pre-emergent application as early as the first week of February. Now, when I apply prodiamine, I apply it at the higher rate, like towards the higher end of the label rates, and I do one application, and I get really good results with that as far as keeping weeds out of my lawn throughout the spring and throughout the summer. And here's the thing too, you guys follow my channel, so you guys know I tend to aerate and top dress the lawn. Next year we'll probably won't get top dress, but I will aerate it. And even with aeration, I don't get a lot of breakthrough. I don't have a lot of problems with weeds showing up in my lawn. So what I would say, instead of going, crazy as far as doing like, prodiamine and dithiopyr, just throwing up the kitchen sink at it, like prodiamine, when applied properly at the correct rates, is a very effective pre-emergent. It's going to work. It's going to keep crabgrass away. It's going to keep a lot of your summer weeds, your spring and summer weeds away. You just want to make sure you apply it prior to your average soil temps being at 55 degrees. So some people will say, because whenever you read the label, you see other people on YouTube, they'll say, at 55 degrees, apply it. Really, you want to get it down before the 5-day average of soil temps is 55 degrees. So really, if you want to be safe, if you're my neighbor in Georgia, February, early to mid-February, you're going to be just fine. If you want to wait till late February, that's okay too. But remember too, whenever you apply pre-emergent, it's not like you apply it and then right away it's effective. You have to apply it, and you either need to run an irrigation cycle to get it down into the soil, or you need to wait for it to rain. So doing it a bit early, again, prior to soil temps prior to getting to the point where soil temps are where crabgrass will begin to germinate is a good thing. So I lean towards early than late. I can tell you that some of my friends that work in the industry that spray lawns for a living, literally the beginning of January, they're already starting to run because they have like a really big routes. They're already doing pre-emergent on lawns because it's the only way they're going to get through their entire route before the weeds begin taking root. And they don't have a lot of problems with weeds showing up. So I would say early is better than late. If you want to wait till like late, like mid to late February. And if you're my neighbor in Georgia, that's probably going to be okay too. But putting it down a couple of weeks earlier is not going to hurt anything. It really isn't. And you're going to get great results going that route. And of the two, dithiopyr is the one that is better suited for the springtime. But if you're going to go dithiopyr, I would wait until like later into February. If you're going to go prodiamine, you could do that early February. That because the prodiamine tends to last a little bit longer than dithiopyr. All right. Next up is Dalvin Larry. He says, I asked a question last week about your plan for watering. If you plan to overseed this fall, maybe I missed it. What is the typical watering schedule for cool season guys? That's a good question. So I don't have a cool season lawn, but as far as getting the grass to grow, as far as like when I overseed, the same thing would apply the same rules would apply that apply to when I'm trying to get Bermuda to germinate. Don't allow the seed to dry out. Don't allow the soil to dry out while you're waiting for it to germinate. Ryegrass isn't really super hard to grow. Like it's as far of as out of the grass types that I have grown from seed, ryegrass is probably the easiest I found. Like by far, zoysia is the hardest. Like it just takes forever, one, for it to germinate and forever for it to fill in. Bermuda is like a second as far as difficulty. And or actually, we'll do it the other way. From easiest to hardest, ryegrass is the easiest that I personally have experience with. Bermuda is second. Like if you have Arden 15, that will germinate in 9 to 10 days, depending on proper conditions. And then zoysia is just put the seed down and pray and wait. You're looking at 3 weeks easy before you see any reasonable amount of germination when it comes to zoysia. So ryegrass isn't that hard to grow as long as you've got you're not allowing it to dry out. The conditions are right. You shouldn't have a problem with getting ryegrass to grow in. As far as my watering, just under an inch of water per week is what I'm going to do. The same thing I give Bermuda uh, whenever it's actively growing. Should be fine for ryegrass. What's gonna be fun to play with too are the higher rates, Dalvin, because you guys know if I do the ryegrass overseed, I am gonna be on that Primo Max life. It's gonna be getting the good stuff, and the rates for ryegrass are quite a bit higher than they are for Bermuda. So it'll be fun. It'll be fun. It'll be a fun way to one just a fun to experiment with. It'll be fun to make content. So yeah, that'll be fun to do this upcoming fall. We shall see. We'll see if it works out. Dalvin is up next. He says, I have this undying urge to cut my dormant lawn just to see the stripes again. LOL. I mean, you should go do it. I am completely on board with that. Here's the thing I would not do. Don't go make major height of cut changes, but if you want to get out there and just kind of do a cleanup cut, by all means, man. It's not gonna hurt anything. Scratch the itch, lay down some fresh stripes, and yeah, it's not gonna be a problem at all. I'll tell you though, if you have the ability to turf rake it, like that is what will really set the stripes and make them look good. Like I'll tell you, if you were to go out and look at the lawn today, it looks today just like that. And it's not that this look, let me see if I can pause it here. These stripes are not so much from the mowing. I mean, the mowing obviously helps. It's more from the turf raking because you got to remember, whenever you turf rake the lawn, at least the way that I'm doing it, I don't go super aggressive. So the spring loaded tines almost act like a comb through here, and it's combing the grain of the grass all in the direction of the stripes. So the stripes they are a lot more pronounced, and because the grass isn't actively growing, right, it's not like the Bermuda is trying to untangle itself. Like, because Bermuda doesn't really want to grow in straight lines, right? It wants to grow and spread out in all different directions. So during the growing season, I wouldn't get away with that. I wouldn't get away with like being able to, run the turf rake on it like once and like 2 weeks later, it still looks the exact same way. So the stripes are so popping because when the grass is actively growing, while even though I'm forcing it to kind of lay in that direction of the stripes to kind of get them to show up better, when it's actively growing, it's going to resist that. It's going to slowly, begin creeping in all different directions. And that's why the regular turf raking is really necessary during the growing season to really keep the stripes popping nice. But during this time of year, when the grass isn't growing, you're able to do that. And it just kind of stays there, right? Because the grass isn't trying to do anything funny like it is when it's actively growing. So if you got a turf rake, if you have a way to turf rake your lawn, and again, not aggressive, don't even get down into you set it up really like it doesn't take much to where you're literally just tickling. Think of it almost like how you are brushing your hair. Like we know how you're brushing your hair. It's like that's not very aggressive. Whereas if you took a comb and you put the comb like against your scalp and you were to run it against your head, like that's a lot more aggressive. You think brush, not comb. Like that's how you want to look at it. Think of it like you're almost like you're brushing the grass in the direction you want it to grow. You're not trying to comb it like aggressively, if you're turf raking it. So hope that helps. All right, Ignacio is up next. He says, "Today I received my prize from the giveaway last week. Nice. Glad that it made it. Thanks for the sticker and appreciate the thank you note. You're very, very welcome, sir. The lawn finally went dormant after a week of freezing. This week it's back to 70s here in I think Antonio, Texas, ATX. I think you're saying, and yeah, and I wish I'd gotten a picture up, but Robert Rainey, which I don't think Robert is around tonight, but he sent me a picture 2 days ago of his lawn. You remember how his lawn was still green a couple weeks ago? This cold weather blast that came through, like his lawn is not. It looks like my lawn now. It's dormant. He mowed it. He laid some stripes down on it. Looks great. But if you had any kind of green, this past those few days of the temps in single digits, fix that. Definitely fix that. All right. Next up is John Williams. He says, "Hey Ron, thanks for the show. How would you get a good kill on dandelions in a centipede lawn here in Savannah, Georgia? Thanks. There's a couple. Dandelions aren't that hard to kill, John. You could use just technically you could use tenacity if you wanted to. You could use Celsius. That will knock out dandelions. There's a lot of different herbicides you can use for dandelions. Again, they're not not a particularly difficult weed to kill. Of the two, if I were going to lean towards one, I would go more with Celsius than I would with tenacity because it's not going to discolor your lawn. Like tenacity, even on even when applied at the at the label rates, it can cause some temporary discoloration of your lawn, whereas this, when applied at proper rates, is not going to do that. So I would go for this, and this kills more stuff. As far as like the number of weeds that it targets, Celsius targets more weeds than tenacity does. All right, Nyan is up next. He says, "Hey Ron, I used Spectacle Flow early December, and it completely got rid of all the POA. Thank you." Okay. Spectacle is really a pre-emergent, so I'm surprised that I would say this. I'd be shocked that it killed existing POA. It's very effective at preventing POA from showing up in the first place. Like if you go look at my lawn, you guys see it. There's not a single weed anywhere throughout the entire lawn. I don't think I picked a single weed out of the lawn this year. If you look at that, there's no weeds anywhere throughout that. There's no POA. The only thing that's green in that lawn, if you go and look at it closely, is the Bermuda grass, near closer to the soil where it hasn't fully gone dormant. Like that, the only thing that's green in my lawn right now is Bermuda. Not there's no weeds in it at all. Spectacle is, again, for a fall pre-emergent, is about as good as you can get for warm season grass. It's a really, really good product. It's just expensive, but like everything, you get what you pay for. All right, Ignacio Paez says, "I'm hoping it stays dormant, but it looks like the warm weather is here to stay. Would be nice if the mower could collect some dust." You don't technically have to mow it. Here's the thing. You don't have to mow dormant grass. Here's the thing. Your neighbors probably think you're crazy for mowing dormant grass. I'm lucky I got Alex to I guess he probably thinks I'm crazy. He already knows I'm crazy, and the rest of the neighborhood just knows I'm that guy. But I mean, you don't really have to mow dormant grass. It's not a requirement. You don't have to do it, but it does look better if you do. It does look better if you keep it looking all nice. And even if it does warm up, Ignacio, it shouldn't warm up enough that it comes out of dormancy to where you're having to be out there weekly. I'd imagine if you're mowing it twice a month, like that's the extent of what I would expect you'd have to mow it this time of year, even if the temps warm up into the 40s and 50s, because you're still going to have those dips where you're going to have a couple of days where it gets into freezing temps. So it's you shouldn't have to mow it regularly at all this time of year. And if you want to, it's one thing, but as far as have to do it, you really shouldn't this time of year. All right, cool guys. I'm trying to see if we have any other questions. Doesn't look like it. Looks like that's about the last of it. Moderators, thank you guys so much for taking care of the few trolls that popped in tonight. Every now and then, even the trolls want to come by and have some fun in the live stream. But we got people, man. We got folks that are on the spot, on the ball as far as taking care of that. So thanks so much for your help tonight. Let's see. Ben Raham says, "Are you dormant mowing and turf raking the front? I have mowed the front. I am not turf raking it. I would be afraid to put the allet on a dormant slope because like dormant grass is slippery. Like you guys think like wet grass. Like some of you guys were in the morning. I remember when I think I said this last year. Like as far as what you're more likely to slip on, at least in my experience, like Bermuda in the when it is dormant, like it is much harder to mow dormant Bermuda than it is to even mow actively growing Bermuda in the morning. So Bermuda with like light dew on, a little bit of dew on it in the morning, like that is less slippery than dormant Bermuda. Dormant Bermuda, you'll break your neck trying to mow, trying to keep even trying to get the mower to track straight, but it's just it's because there's no moisture in it, you'll just slide all over the place. So the outlet I have not put on the front lawn. I've not turf raked it, but I have mowed the front lawn. I've used the Green Master on the front lawn, but not the outlet has been on the vanity strips. It's been in the swale area, but it has not been on the front lawn. That's just only been the Greens Master this for this time of year. But next year, once the lawn is beginning to green up, I will absolutely get the outlet out there to give it several rounds of turf raking to clean it up, get the debris out of it, and just get it ready for the season. But I'm not doing it this time of year because I don't feel like twisting an ankle or having a 300+ pound mower roll over on me or slide down the hill uncontrolled. There is that. All right. Robert Maduro says, "Good night, all. Thanks for being so generous with your time and knowledge. You are definitely an asset for us lawn DIYers. See you next year." Thank you so much, Robert. Happy New Year. See you, I guess, when is the next time? The next live stream, if all goes to plan, will be January 6th. So, yeah. Yeah, definitely. And then Ben Raham says, "Yeah, that outlet is huge in person. It's a big mower. I'll tell you, after running the outlet, and you pick up you go from the outlet to the Greensmaster. When the Greensmaster is not a light mower either, but it literally feels like a toy. Like the Greensmaster, you feel like you can do anything you want with it because it's so much lighter and so much less like wheelie than the outlet. The outlet it's a big piece of equipment. Like you really got to plan your turns and your passes because once it gets going, it's going. It's absolutely going. Mike Harvey says, "What harm will I do? What will I or will I harm the lawn if I do both pre-emergence?" Potentially, it's the same. The question you're asking is if I were to do it's the same question as doing like multiple herbicides. So let's say you were trying to kill spurge in your lawn, right? And you went out and you sprayed Celsius at full rate, and then you also went out and sprayed like another three-way like Spectracide or Triad Select at full rate. Even though you're applying them both at the rates that they are labeled for, it's too much. Like you don't need that much on the lawn at one time. Because the thing you got to keep in mind too, right, is even though prodiamine and dithiopyr are labeled as safe for use on warm season grass, you don't want to put that much active ingredient in the lawn that close at the same time. And Mike, I know you're kind of you're a bit shocked, or a little bit, you're a bit nervous because of your experience with POA. But if you apply prodiamine at proper rates, if you mix it the right rate and you apply it properly, meaning you use like a like an air induction tip, like a flood jet tip, like this. For those of you on Instagram, like a tip like this, like a flood jet tip like this, or like this, right? And you ensure that your sprayer is calibrated so your walking pace is correct. So you're putting down the right amount of product over the right amount of square footage, and then you water it in, you're gonna have a good result. You're not gonna have a problem with a lot of weeds in your lawn over the spring or summer. There's not. I'll tell you. I'll put you this way. I have never applied prodiamine and dithiopyr on my lawn in the springtime, like in succession, or even within 30 days of each other, because there's just no need to do that. Like either one by themselves will work, will be just fine. Here's the thing: if you're really concerned, right, you could do this. You could do prodiamine like in early February at like a lighter rate, not at the full rate, and then you could do dithiopyr in like late March. So if you really want to do both, you could do prodiamine, not full rate, February timeframe, and you could do dithiopyr later on in the spring, like like late March timeframe. Like you could do that if you wanted to. Again, not really necessary, but that if you wanted to mix them, you could go that route. But I would not do them like I would not do like prodiamine January or February 1st, and then go do dithiopyr full rate prodiamine January February 1st, and then full rate dithiopyr the end of February. You just don't need to do it. I mean, it's not necessary to get the result that you're after, and it can potentially harm your lawn. So yeah, I wouldn't do it. All right, next up is Charles. Let me see what else we got here. We got Bermuda saying, "Hey Ron, hey at work, just speaking. Happy holidays, bro. See you 2023. Thanks, Daryl. Hopefully all is going well. Keep going, man. Keep going with your YouTube channel. Keep doing what you're doing. Looking forward to seeing your growth, both in seeing how the lawn does and also in how your channel grows next year. So definitely keep doing what you're doing, sir." And next up is Charles Davis. This is a good question. He says, "Sorry if you mentioned this before. I did not." He says, "But what is the height of your lawn while dormant? Any need to leave it higher for the winter?" So the best answer to this, Charles, is it depends. I do not raise the height of the height of my lawn over the winter, because for the most part in where I live, our winters are mild. So the height that my lawn is at right now is 3/4 of an inch. That is the same height that I maintain it at throughout the growing season. So I cut it at 3/4 of an inch during spring, summer months, and then into dormancy. It goes into dormancy at 3/4 of an inch, and I leave it there. I have left it last fall, when I was mowing over the summer at 1/2 inch or just under 1/2 inch. I went into dormancy with it at 1/2 inch, and the lawn tolerated that just fine as well too. So I guess what I'm saying is that where I live, because the winters we might get, a couple of days where it gets to be in the 30s, and then it warms right back up into the 50s again. So it's a bunch of up and down, to where while Bermuda does see freezing temps, it doesn't see it for like weeks and weeks on end, where you potentially could have some damage to the lawn due to cold temperatures over a long period of time. I have not experienced any issues with leaving it at that height. If you lived in Arkansas, or if you're a little bit further north, where it gets cold, stays cold for longer periods of time, then letting it get a bit taller, letting it get to an inch and a quarter, wouldn't be necessarily a bad idea. I've not had the need to do that where I live though. So the answer to the question is it depends. Like my lawn has been it stays at that height. Alex's lawn stays at that height, and we don't have any problems in the springtime as far as like any of the lawn being dead or any damage from the winter. Because again, our winters here in Georgia are relatively mild. I mean, save like Friday and Saturday last week. That's an outlier, but that's an outlier for like the entire country. Like those temperatures are not something we commonly see in Georgia. All right, next up is Nyan. He says, "Is it too late to do a soil test?" No, it's never too late to do a soil test. You could do one if you're doing one now. What I might say is, if you're going to do one now, you can, and then those results you get from that, you could use those to drive what you do for the springtime. So yeah, get it. We have these in stock. Just go to the golf course lawn store under the soil test kit section and pick one up. And if you want to get your do a soil test now, you can absolutely do it. If you want to wait till February to do one, you can do that too. The results you get between now or the tests you do in February, they're going to be pretty much they're going to be fairly similar, and you can use those results to drive what fertilizer you go with in March timeframe whenever the lawn begins to green up. You're very, very welcome, Charles. Glad it was helpful. And then Mike says, understood. Thanks for all the advice. Have a great new year. See you next year. You're very, very welcome, Mike. Again, at the right rates, you're gonna have a you're gonna have a good result, man. No problem at all. Robert Rainey, he made it in. He says, I'm here. Go Knowles. What a stressful game. I didn't watch the game. I didn't watch. Is it football you're talking about? I haven't seen anything. I haven't watched any sports tonight. I think there's also there's NFL on tonight, isn't there? I've lost interest in NFL until we get close to the Super Bowl because I got eliminated this past week, man. This past week I was eliminated in my fantasy football league. I'm going to end up third in the in our league, which is not bad, right? It's a league of eight guys in our league, so third place isn't terrible. First place would have been better, but hey, there's always next year, right? Okay, next up is Nyan. He's saying, I'm thinking of upgrading my McLean. Would you go True Cut or Allet? Ooh, Allet. Allet all the way. Allet all the way. Here's why, though. I don't want to just give you an answer. I'll tell you why. I'll give you the why behind it. So, I like the True Cut's propulsion system better than I do the McLean. Out of the two mowers, I prefer the True Cut over the McLean. There's just that. So if you were starting out and you're going to say, hey, I'm going True Cut or McLean, which one should I get? I would tell you to get a True Cut. The reason why I say Allet over True Cut is because with the Allet you can get you get the interchangeable cartridge system. So you're able to do verticutting, you're able to do turf raking, you're able to get like the brush if you want to do that. So you top dress a lawn, you want to brush the material in, you can do that. If you want to get a dethatcher, that's probably the last cartridge I would buy. But if you want to go really aggressive and dethatch your lawn, there's a cartridge for that. So by like many times over, I would get the Allet ahead of the True Cut because once you have your program dialed in, right? So you're soil testing, you know what fertilizers you want to use, you got your, you're doing your PGR, you got your fungicides, insecticides, you get your entire program worked out, right? To where the inputs, the stuff you're putting into the lawn are producing the result that you want, meaning the color, the rate of growth, like you got all that worked out. The next thing that's really going to take the appearance of it to another level is how often you mow it, and then if you have warm season grass, like your ability to verticut it, to thin the lawn out occasionally. Because Bermuda, whenever you real mow it, like real mowing is great for Bermuda, but the negative to real mowing is that it also promotes the lawn to thicken up a lot. And if you don't thin that out some with verticutting, you are going to start having issues where parts of your lawn are going to start getting scalping and the mower is going to start floating in areas that it didn't before. You're just going to have cutting issues that verticutting fixes. So the Allet out of the three mowers you listed there is the only one that has the ability to do verticutting. And because it has a basket, like a grass catcher you can put on the front of it, whenever you verticut, you're not also spending a bunch of time out there with a rake afterwards cleaning up the big mess you just created with the verticutter. So for that reason, the Allet 1,000 times before the True Cut, given that you already have a McLean. So in other words, the Allet's going to be a much bigger upgrade to the appearance of your lawn than the True Cut will be. So that is why I would say Allet many times over than True Cut. Good choice, man. Let me know what you end up going with. You will like it. I absolutely love mine. Love mine. The only regret that I have is that I didn't get one sooner. It's an awesome mower. Really like it. All right, Melly Mel is in the house saying, hello, Ron. Happy New Year. Happy New Year, Melly Mel. Thanks for coming to check in just to say hey and gives well wishes. SMK's in the house. Man, dude, you guys, okay. So SMK, you guys don't know, most of you guys don't know who he is. The very first guest I had on my live stream was SMK. Man, I haven't seen you in forever, dude. Glad to see that you're doing well. You said, what up, Ron? Long time. I had a new baby, so I pretty much gave up lawn care. I plan to get back to it next year. Very cool, man. Well, I'm glad to have you back. Glad you're doing well. Congrats on the little one. So, I get it. Having a new addition to the family, that takes priority over your grass. But now that I guess they're growing, walking, getting into stuff, you can get out there back in the lawn. Awesome, man. Glad to hear from you again. It's really cool because again, he was the very first guest as far as on the live stream, the very first one. So if you want to see the very first guest I ever had on the show, go back to when would it be? When would it be? SMK Steve. When would it be? It would be 20. Let me see. We're in 2022, 2021. It would be 2020, right? It would be the fall of 2020 time frame. I believe that's right. Is when he was on there. Yeah, man. Well, cool. Glad to see you're back in it, back in the saddle. And yeah, if I can help with anything, definitely let me know, man. You can tell the production quality's gotten better, right? It's gotten better compared to like 2 years ago. So hopefully that's kind of cool. All right, Lavendi's up next. I think it's gonna be the last question of the evening, unless someone else chimes in. He says St. Augustine in North Florida was long before the freeze. Will it hurt it if I mow next week when it's 80 degrees? No. I mean, I wouldn't mow. I would not mow frozen grass. But if it's back up to where it's in the 80s and it needs to be cut it, man. Yeah, I mean, 80s is just fine. Yeah, I would absolutely get out there and mow it. Yeah. If you'd ask me if I should mow it when it was 30 degrees outside or 20 in the 20s outside, I'd say no. Like, don't do that. When you step on it, you're likely to do damage to the grass. I wouldn't do that. But with it being in the 80s, absolutely. If it needs it, you want to get out there and do a cleanup cut, by all means, man. Get out there, mow. Get out there and enjoy your mow. Get out there and enjoy your mow. Robert Rainey says, after the winter storm of 2022, I had some cleanup. I actually ran irrigation today before I reel mowed just to keep the reel cool. That's a good thought. That's a good idea, Robert. Yeah, that's a good plan. I didn't think about that. Yeah, as far as because you're right, because there's not really any moisture in the grass, or not much anyway. So yeah, having a little bit of moisture out there is not gonna hurt anything. It's actually it's a good idea. I didn't think about that. It's a good benefit. Well, very, very cool, guys. I thought tonight was literally going to be about an hour or so, but between your question, comments, and the fact that I am incapable of giving a short answer to a simple question, we are almost at 10 o'clock. So we'll knock off a little bit early tonight, unless you guys have any more questions, comments, anything else. Again, anything is, no holds barred. If you have longer questions, we can do that. If you have technology questions, we can do that real quick. But if not, we will be able to shut down a little bit early tonight. And I will tell you guys that I really, really appreciate each and every one of you, all the support that I've gotten over the over the several years I've been trying to grow the channel, and over this past season. And again, none of this happens without you guys here. So I really do appreciate you guys taking the time to watch not only the live streams, but also the other, like the full length content that I create, because without your viewership, the channel wouldn't grow, and I would be out here just talking to myself like I was doing 7-8 years ago. I was out there with my iPhone just documenting and just talking to myself. So I really, really appreciate you guys. I don't tell you guys enough. So have a happy holidays. Be very, very, very safe out there. Have a happy new year. Don't do anything I would do. And the next time we talk will be January 6th, if all goes to plan, 2023. Take care.